Master B, what is up?
What up, dog? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I saw it when you were getting into battle mode there. I could almost feel your energy just being like, "Fuck, I hate this." But the glasses, because like, for all you don't know, B's got an injury at the moment. They're rocking the glasses to maybe help calm some of the light going on there. And he's looking like a badass while doing it.
It's one of those things, dude. I don't really know what to say, man. It's been going on for over a month now, and it just doesn't seem to be
Yeah.
doing right. So they finally diagnosed me with something the other day, which didn't sound good at all. So just kind of working through that, man. Hoping to get over it in the next week or so. But who knows, man? I don't know. It's just you're
Uh,
a customer. Once you step into those places, you're a customer, man. You know what I'm saying?
oh, at the glasses places.
No,
Uh,
at the hospital.
oh yeah. Okay. Fair.
I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
get this thing cleared up enough to go get it like a regular eye exam. You know what I mean? From like a
Oh, like an
just
optometrist.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
they're looking
Okay.
at my eye and they're like, "No, dude, you need like a doctor."
Right,
So
right, right, right.
that's kind of where we're at right now with
Fuck, dude.
that whole
Well,
thing.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
to hear that, man.
It's all good, dude. Working through it, man. Working through it. The light sensitivity and the watery eye is yeah, Mecha Ducky sunglasses at night
Right?
edition, dude.
We're just gonna need like a little banner going across the bottom, like, "Book up with the eyeglasses."
Yeah.
All night, just running on the bottom. We know he's wearing glasses.
Yeah. All I can say
Oh,
is,
yeah.
man, take care of your eyes, dude. Like if you have
Oh,
like a
Jesus.
dry eye, if you have that, dude, get that taken care of right away. Because if you don't, then it turns into something fucked up. So,
Maybe you'll get a
anyhow,
weed prescription.
well, I don't know if you really need a prescription for that, but
Nah,
um,
well, then tax write-off, bro.
it does help. I'll tell you that it does help. I can vouch for that. What's up with you, man? How you been?
I'm good, dude. Like yourself, I don't have quite the entourage that you do, but I did assemble a couple of the Amira vinyl, Amira Fubi. Is that what we're calling it? I don't know,
Hey, all
man.
right,
I don't
sure.
know.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's a
I
bajillion names for it.
yeah. Uh, yeah.
And I mean, maybe the gentleman that we've got in coming in tonight, for those that you maybe missed the post and are just happening to be like, you know what, no matter what, I just want to see B and Crumbs. Well, we're gonna have Wonder Goblin and also Barely Human Arts, right? Barely Human Toys, both.
Both.
There we go. And they'll probably know a lot more about all of this, but I think about it all the time, dude. Like, I think one of the main differences, personally, when I think about it, are like, what chemicals are they using? Like, at the end of the day, like, these guys are mixing solutions, right? It's hardening into a thing. I get part of the process being like a slush cast versus, just a straight pour into a silicone mold or something. But
Sure.
I mean, yeah, I guess you'd have to have quite the vast collection of different vinyl from around the world to really, really start to kind of get a taste for what factories do, what kind of jointing, and how soft it is. Like even you've mentioned, you've got one of the steady crafting pieces, the craftsman pieces, and it's just like a little bit squishier than some of the others that you've had. And then
Sure.
actually, it's funny. I know for a fact I've got this guy here, the Saruga Mark one, and this was early learning to do like the soft vinyl from home garage
Right.
style, and
Right.
it's actually quite hard. Like the
Yeah.
density of it's actually quite almost like brittle feeling
Sure.
versus that bath toy kind of feel.
Sure.
Um, and I'm sure you know too, like some of those big giant robot clear vinyl ones that you see coming in from Japan, and you're moving the joints and it's fucking, making that, it's like,
Mm.
oh, that shit just feels good. Popping open the bag and the smell from it.
Yeah, dude. And I was telling Barely Human before we jumped on here that I'll be the first to admit, dude, as much as I love vinyl, I am not the most educated collector on vinyl at all. I mean, right now I'm collecting a lot of stuff that I like, a lot of artists that I really like.
You're curating a
Um,
collection though, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. I mean, some of the cases are definitely coming together and stuff. But we were talking about how kind of like the homemade garage Safubi has been kind of a thing here for the last few years. And I think Saruga Mark, that's what kind of led me to that dude was, I believe he was doing his own, correct? We had him on, gosh, dude, that had to have been at least, what, 3 years ago? Something like that. I think he was in
It
maybe the first 50.
It probably would have been, yeah. And at that time, they were probably just doing. They probably started just doing these guys and the dinosaurs. Um,
Yeah,
but now we've got low tech doing it from home as well. I think we've talked about it so often, dude. Just the access to information is so much more readily available and so plentiful.
yeah,
Plentiful. It's hard not to have access to all this stuff. And like Lotex posts his process, right? You can see if you want to. One of the biggest things I'd say is like you have to be a multidisciplinary artist or have a lot of good friends. Like I don't like there's welding involved, there's wax sculpting involved, there's fucking pouring
right.
involved. I don't, and to do it right too. Like that's the other thing too. Like I think it was Suckboard and not that like we're not gonna go down that train, but in one of his he was even trying to just kind of say like guys like work in a proper studio. And I don't think he was trying to be condescending or a douche or anything. If anything, he's looking out more for just like the safety and everything for the people that are
Sure.
working on this stuff. But like and, I know Mecha Ducky's big on it as well. Like he went down that train when we brought them in about like the proper mask and filters to have for that kind of stuff when you're painting with some of these products and setting up proper exhaust to get some of that chemical out and stuff. So I think sometimes it's just a matter of that too. Like anybody can kind of fuck around and find out in their garage, but doing it in a way where you don't potentially harm yourself, a little different.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we, the trial and error part, I think, is a lot more forgiving in the resin world, right? Because it just seems like it's that much faster. And we've had a lot of artists that do both and say that they like and dislike vinyl for the same reason, that it takes long, and sometimes that works for people, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
Um, but I would think that the process to get the molds correct, it's like once you have that mold, if you find something wrong with it, how do you correct that? You know what I mean? It's just, I'm so foreign to that world, man. I'm glad that we got these two gents on tonight.
Yeah.
Not that
Again,
anyone,
they'll know way more.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure, man. For sure. And it's a whole, I think when you really get into it and you've been collecting for a while and you really start to see the difference, not only in the product, of course, but the process, and then kind of some of the work, the design behind it. Um, Hey, Victor. What's up, my guy? That's a new one for us, man. Victor, he's a coworker of mine. What's up, dude? Glad you made it, man. But yeah, it'll be a good show, man, because there's, like I said, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, you can see just the stuff on my side, dude. These are all artists from the United States that are either polling here in the States, or just are vinyl artists from the United States. And dude, there is just a plethora. I don't think I mean, with what I have up here, that's probably not even a quarter of what's available in the United States. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say yeah, yeah, agreed. And then you want to say hi to the homies in the chat there, or did you want me to read them off real quick? Which is easier for you, man?
You know what, dude? If you could do it that way, I would
Well,
really appreciate that, dude.
just I don't know. Say, typically just want to say hi to the homies. That's we got like fuck toys hanging out there. Hey, Suki, what's going on? Toys and tits, how you doing, dude? Slightly adrift. What is up? Bliss Receptor, what is going on? Mecha Ducky, nice to see you in here. Hobo Toys, nice to see you in here. It feels like it's been a little while there, man. Hope you're doing well. Headcase Toys, what is up? Who else we got hanging out with us? Mr. Ordinary Toys, Ashley Kate Alvarado. Gorgeous piece, by the way, that I just ended up seeing you post up on your page there, homie. That was fucking
Mm,
sick.
mm.
Yuppie Bomb, how are you? Victor Guerrero. And, of course, Kevy Cold Cuts, Folklorian, hasn't missed a fucking beat. Alright, we've gotten them all introduced in here. You want to pull in these homies that we have patiently waiting down below, have them introduce themselves to the crew, and then start probing them?
Absolutely, man. We got Barely
Alright.
Human Toys coming on, and the Wonder Goblin. Let's bring him on in.
Alrighty, gents, we're gonna fling you both in at once. Boom. Boom. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Gentlemen,
Hey,
how are we?
good. How you
Hey,
doing?
Good. Fantastic, man. Who's going first?
Barely human. Why don't we make you big for a second? You're gonna let everybody at home know who you are, homie.
well, my name's John Black. I go by Barely Human. I've been, I don't know, I've
I
been
can't
making
hear him.
art.
Can y'all?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, yeah, I've been making art for a long time since, early 90s, but started doing toy stuff probably about 2015. Started doing some resin stuff. Had a lot of friends doing it, and then started doing soft vinyl around 21. and I've been going since then pretty hard on that and doing a lot of sculpting, done a lot of some sculpting for some other folks and stuff. But yeah, it's been good times.
Some good
Nice.
times. Wonder Goblin, why don't you introduce yourself to the homies and tell us about those good times?
Sure. Yeah. I just wanted to start by saying I wasn't able to hear anything that Barry the Human was saying. Were y'all able to hear him?
we,
Yeah.
yeah.
My thing must be muted. I'm not sure why. I wasn't able to hear what he was saying.
Huh.
Just
It-
wanted to tell you guys that so y'all could maybe sort that out while I was
Gotcha.
gabbing.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I
But
did try and turn up his volume just in case. Sorry about that, man.
no, it's fine. Maybe it's something on my end. Maybe I've got some weird kind of setting. Uh, Anywho, I'm Wonder Goblin. I make toys, and I'm just a dude, and I live in Georgia, and I just got done working in my moss garden, which was fun. I like the woods and stuff. How y'all
Nice.
doing?
Fantastic, man.
Oh,
Thank you
well,
guys
that's good.
for joining us, dude. Did you say a moss garden?
Yeah, yeah.
What is
Okay.
that?
Just like a garden full of moss.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just like it sounds. That's a garden
yeah,
full of
yeah,
moss.
Nice. We have
yeah.
a lot of that
I
here,
like
and
to I like to go for walks, and we take the dogs for a walk through the woods every day, and it's about like a mile walk, and if I ever see moss like growing in spots of the path where it's getting walked on, or the mules trampling it or something, then I'll scrape it up and bring it to my little moss garden and
nice.
pat it down in there to save it and kind of baby it and stuff. So it's nice.
There you go. John, did you say you're in Oregon, correct?
I'm on the border of Oregon and Vancouver, Washington,
Okay,
so I
okay.
get the best of both worlds.
Oh
We
wow.
have
So
a
you're way up
yeah,
there.
yeah. We have a well, right on the border, but yeah, we have a like a couple acres out here, and we're kind of the same way. We do a lot of outdoor work, and it's very green here, and yeah, so we very inspired when it's rainy to get inside and make toys and have fun.
Yeah,
Nice.
I was gonna say, man, lots of
I've always wanted to go up to your neck of the woods and go Bigfoot hunting, man.
You
That's
would love it. You would love it, man. It is your world here. You would love the woods here. It's beautiful. It's green
oh
and
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
moss.
I've always wanted to go up there. It does look beautiful.
Yeah,
There was a resin artist, Drock. He Drock Toy and Novelty. I think he's still around. I just haven't seen him post in a while, but he's up from that same area in Oregon, and man, he is all about the Bigfoot. I did a post one time. It was just a Bigfoot toy of his, and man, that thing went wild. And with
nice.
just how many Bigfoot followers and collectors of miscellaneous Bigfoot stuff. But, anyways, another story, another time, I guess. Um, John, how long you said so 2015 you've been in James, when did you start in vinyl?
Oh, I didn't start in vinyl until let's see, I started making resin toys in 2015, and then
That's when I started,
yeah,
2015, to do resin. I didn't do vinyl yet until 21. But
Nice.
yeah,
yeah,
I think my first vinyl I did in it was 2017, maybe, or it was either late 2016, or I think I started working on it late 2016, and then it didn't get. I don't think it came out until 2017. It was the Queen Hagapus.
Oh,
It was this big. I think I actually might have the.
I was gonna. Do you have one of all your sculpts?
I've definitely got one of all my sculpts. This was the first one I did. Um, Not the first colorway. I don't. I think my mom has the one of the first colorway. She wanted it, so I think I gave it to her. But yeah, I usually save one of all my major runs, and I haven't been doing that as much lately. I used to do it a lot more back in the beginning, and I've since kind of slowed down with keeping up with it.
yeah,
yeah.
same.
Is there any reason that is it just like the novelty maybe kind of wears off a little bit, or why is it that you guys maybe kind of slow down on keeping?
For me, it's I still love collecting my stuff. I love. I mean, I like the reason I make this stuff is because it's the stuff that I would want. So like, you
Exactly.
know, I still love holding on to pieces of stuff, and sometimes I still do like for little things. If I made a lot of something, I'll keep like the paint master or something, or maybe the last one in the run if I didn't get the
Yeah.
paint master. But
I'll usually keep a blank or something.
yeah, something. But yeah, lately I haven't been keeping everything just because I've sort of been just letting go of a lot
It's
of
hard.
things more. It's also just
Too
like,
much stuff.
yeah, the more stuff you accumulate and the older you get, the more you realize that stuff doesn't really matter and it's about the process. And so it's like,
Yeah.
it's like whether I have the thing, there's this like quote from the Tao Te Ching that I really like that's like, the the a wise soul, makes the thing and then lets it go, and by letting it go, that's what makes it stay. And I always love that, so
Mm.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think I'm just kind of getting more like that as I get older.
Same. Yes.
Man, letting it go makes it stay, dude. That's a good that's pretty good, dude. I honestly hate to hear that as a collector because it makes me cringe, dude, to know that some
Well,
of this
Mhm.
stuff
I think
won't be here.
it's true, but it's also like I especially like how it translates to an artist, in that if an artist keeps all their stuff, it doesn't get out in the world, and if it doesn't get out in the world,
Mhm.
then it doesn't have staying power. Like the reason why, you know um, artists that are very prolific and put their art out are more well known than artists that just make stuff and hold on to it and never
Hold
show
it.
anybody their stuff, is
Yeah.
because the stuff circulates, and it spreads joy, and people talk about it, and it stays in the ether that way.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
And it always seems to, when you're doing a run, you do make an extra one, but then there's always that one person that's like, "Hey man, do you have that? You still have that?" Every once in a while this happens, and you're kind of
Yeah,
like, "You know what? I do have one that I've been holding, but I would gladly give it to a person or sell it to someone that would love to have something of mine." You know what I mean? I'd much rather have someone else cherish it than, like you were saying, hold on to things.
exactly. Yeah, that's a
But
great example. That
hmm
that's always nice when you're able to make someone's day with something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
What's
That's
crazy
funny,
is
man. Yeah, go ahead.
we've both been there, right? Is that what?
I was just gonna say, man, I mean, especially with resin artists and stuff, when they say when you hit them up later on down the road and you ask if they have any that let they say, well, I only have this one left. I wasn't really gonna sell it, but I'll sell it to you. And you're
yeah.
just like, oh man, are you sure? You sure you want to do that? You know?
hmm
But the way that you broke that down, that makes complete sense. Let's get into the process a little bit, man. So we were talking before about how the resin process. Now it seems to me, and this is becoming, I think, kind of less and less as time goes on. But it seems like the resin scene is kind of was like a necessary thing before you make that jump into vinyl. Now, whether that's due to like getting a process down or a design down or whatever it is, but at the end of the day, like the vinyl scene is, or the vinyl process is a lot more forgiving than the vinyl, I would think, because it's right there. You can redo it, you can re-pour, you can re-sculpt right away. When you guys are doing something in vinyl and it's kind of like a one-shot deal, you have your wax, or you send it to the factory, or however you're doing that. Um, I would assume that you would go through a couple prototypes before it gets completely right. But how do you make that being said, how do you make the decision on, just like what you said, James? You have a bunch of sculpts that maybe you weren't gonna release out, but when you get to that point of, I have a bunch of sculpts, here's one that I want to produce in vinyl. How do you get to that point and select one? That's a question that either one of you can go first, but I'm always curious to see, when it's such a um almost like a one shot thing. How do you decide what you're going to produce? I mean, both you guys have stuff that, the scale is kind of all over the place.
hmm Yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff that doesn't get made. You know what I mean,
Yeah.
too. So, I mean, there's like sculpts and sculpts that I've done that I've the thought was going to be cool, and then I've actually sat on them long enough to be like, no, I'm glad I didn't make that. But with me, it's like you kind of know, you know what I mean? Like if it makes me laugh, if it makes me happy, and every time I look at it, I'm like I get something out of it. That's when I know, okay, I'm making this whether people like it or not. And so that's how I usually kind of go about it. I don't have the money to make as much as I would like to make, but I'm happy with some of the choices I've made. I made it's it's it is kind of a crapshoot sometimes, but I think with 3D printing and all prototyping and things, it's pretty easy to get to a place that you want to be before you pull the trigger. I think personally, but that's what I would
Yeah.
say.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, a Wonder Goblin, though. Your take on that as well?
Yeah. Well, I have a lot of, I draw a lot of creatures, and I come up with a lot of toy designs, and yeah, maybe like one out of every 10 that I do is one that actually makes it to a toy form. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, I kind of follow the same sort of rule of thumb that John does. I draw a lot of things, and then when I keep going back to one, in the sketchbook, and one keeps like really grabbing me and speaking to me, and I start spending some time with it, and I imagine, what's the cave look like that it lives in, and
Hmm.
who are its friends, and is it does it live, over here next to Papa Squatch, or is it deeper down in the nether regions of the
Sure.
planet, and I just
Hmm.
sort of like world build, and whichever one like is easiest for me to sort of like like do all that with, then I start sculpting that one. And sometimes I'll sit on a design for like 2 years, 3 years before I start sculpting it. And
Wow.
I'm working on one right now actually, uh, that I've been sculpting on and off for like 6 months, and I think the original sketch I did of it was like back in 2020,
Oh
and
wow.
finally just now was just like, or 6 months ago or so, was just like, I got to make you. And so yeah, and then sometimes it's different. Sometimes somebody hits, like I remember when I made Papa Squatch, it just right after I drew him, I was like, oh, this is
That's
my
it.
favorite thing I've ever drawn, and like
Mhm.
this is my soul, this is my spirit, this is what I want to be when I grow up. And like I immediately started sculpting, I just dropped everything. So sometimes the passion takes you, and sometimes it's like a slow burn, kind of just kind of depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if I may, because you both said something, but it also kind of goes back to B talking about the process. Barely Human, do you 3D sculpt for yours, or are you like hand sculpting?
I do mostly 3D sculpting.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
I use
Goblin.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, I was just gonna say what I use because I tell people all the time because everybody always asks me, and the reason I use it is because it doesn't have hard edges. Everything I do has real soft edges. I don't create really anything with any sharp edges that I do, and I really like it. It gives it a kind of a unique look. But it's this program I use on my iPad with my iPad pencil, and it's called Sculptura. It's like a $10 program, and I've sculpted everything I've ever done on it. I do also do hand sculpt. When I did resin, I did all hand sculpt. But I'm like hot-handed, heavy, sweaty ogre hands. So when I found a pencil and the program during COVID, I started doing it, and I felt myself feeling like I wasn't fucking up my own sculpt every time I work on it. So that's kind of why I went to digital, and I didn't care. Everybody was hating on me, everybody. But then I came out with these toys that everybody thought were hand sculpted that were not hand sculpted; they were digital. So then everybody was like, oh, okay, maybe it's not digital's not so horrible. And the people I worked with, the factories I worked with, always required a digital scan anyway. So it
Mm.
kind of like made sense that I just did it and then I sent it off finished like that. But I would print it out on my 3D printer, feel it, play with it, look at it and say, okay, is this gonna be cool? I'd paint them, and then I would be like, okay, this is it. So that's kind of that's how I did it. But
When, and if I may too, like, would they give you advice or feedback when you would send them maybe the initial like renders or anything? Would they kind of give you feedback on what to maybe change at all in order to make polls easier?
if I did something weird as far as like the way it lined up with the joints and stuff, they would hit me up and say, "Hey, you really want this to look like this?" And I would either be like, "Yeah, I want it to weirdly look like that," or I would be like, "No, send it back and I'll fix that," kind of a thing. But I'm super not technical. I'm so not. I'm like the farthest bottom caveman of that situation. I don't use Blender or any of these really fancy ones because I don't know the tools and I don't have really the time to do it. I have a 3-year-old now. So I'm
Oof.
like, all I do is when I get a little time on my iPad, I get to go in and do it. And then I don't have to have a big situation of stuff to do, you know? So that's how the reason why I really did it the way I did it from the beginning. But I've always thought about going back to doing some wax stuff or, you know, some stuff because I have all the stuff to do it. I just don't have the time yet. But when my kid hits like 5 and she's able to like really start getting her hands into the stuff I do, then we'll be doing it together. Yeah.
That's
So
two jokes, man.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
yeah,
and
that's the way to do it right there. See, yeah, you should definitely when your kid gets old enough, man. That is like some of my favorite memories as a kid.
yeah.
Probably the most favorite memories I have as a kid is when because my parents were potters,
Oh, see, that's so
and
cool. Yeah,
so I was always around clay growing up, and as soon as I was old enough to start mashing it together, my mom and my dad were there, like helping me make. We're making dinosaurs and
yeah,
like little Godzillas and stuff,
yeah. We do a lot of Play-Doh right now, but
yeah,
she's, you know, I don't really want to get her down here. It's so stinky when I'm working, and I'm just like,
yeah,
I want to get her a face mask, but she's still so little, and it just doesn't work yet. So
that'd be
eventually,
funny.
because she wants to come down here with Dad out painting. She's always like, "Dad, you're painting down there. You're painting," and I'm like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah,
But yeah, it's fun. Makes it more fun.
yeah, yeah,
That's interesting about the digital sculpting, man. That's something that we really got into a few episodes ago. I can't remember who we were talking to, but we were talking about just, how valuable time is and where the 3D sculpting comes in can really help that out. Crumbs, I'm getting a bad echo on my end. I'm going to jump out and jump back in and see if that takes care of it.
I think it's if anything. 1 second. Is it that? No. And then is it? Boom. Is it that? So for some reason, barely human, we're getting just a feedback on you, homie.
Oh, really? I wonder what it
Uh,
could be. Maybe this light?
I just noticed that when I mute you while you're not talking, we just don't get that echo back in there. Sorry about
Oh,
that,
that's
dude.
weird.
So it's probably just your mic is picking up your
I'm in my
speaker.
cave
Oh,
and I'm pretty close to the Wi-Fi, I feel like, but my Wi-Fi has been very spotty these days, so I apologize.
no, that's all good, man. I think it's just your like speaker or something that's picking up in the headphones,
Huh.
or the headphone is picking up
Oh,
in the speaker or mic or whatever.
okay.
it
Yeah,
might
that
Um,
be
makes
me
sense.
because you guys are all wearing headphones. I'm like the only one not wearing headphones, except
I,
Oh, I don't have
see,
them on either.
I
Yeah.
thought it was Wonder Goblin. That's why I was. See, gentlemen, welcome to the most professional
yeah,
toy show on YouTube,
yeah.
Toys Alive. We are
Uh,
killing it every time. Um, so, Mr. Goblin, Wonder Goblin, would you say that it's basically then? Do you primarily work in clay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do everything by hand, and I personally
Yeah.
hate working on computers. I just like
Fair.
I don't even like checking my email. I don't like typing. Like I get
Hmm.
like as soon as I start like clicking around on a computer, like my tendonitis starts going crazy, and
Right.
it's been like that for a while, and I get computer headaches and stuff. I don't like being on the computer, so I sculpt everything by hand, and I work primarily with like monster clay, like hard, and then that's how I rough out the sculpt, and then like John was saying, it warms up, and so it gets soft, and so you only get so much detail with that, and then I'll take a mold, and then I'll cast it in wax, and I'll finish doing the details in wax, and then I just kind of make my own toy wax. It's a real simple recipe. It's just like two things now. I've kind of narrowed it down. But Yeah, it's all real simple. And then yeah, I don't even use I pretty much use like I pretty much I pretty much just use this one loop tool for the most part. I have like a couple other little things that I occasionally use, but I mostly just do that.
That's funny, man. I saw a post. I think it was in his stories today, but Low Tech had posted some of the tools or the tools that he uses. And dude, I think there's only like 3 or 4 in there, and they're all ones that I usually see from everybody that they're using. But that's a tricky one, man. I mean, the sculpting portion of that, I think whether it's digital or you're doing it by hand, I mean, the digital sculpt, that's definitely, I mean, shoot, man, that's a skill on its own as well. And John, are you self-taught in the digital sculpting world too?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I learned during COVID, like the first year of COVID, I kind of just really started hitting it hard and spending time just on my iPad because I was already doing like a lot of like graphic design stuff. So I was on my iPad quite a bit. And I get what you're saying about getting like the computer stuff because honestly, I'm really, other than this, I'm really not super technical anymore. And this program, if you'd ever checked it out, it was really super basic. But yeah, so I would just use that. And yeah, I don't know. I recommend people to try every way. You know what I mean? Like, and try every program. I mean, if you can, it's like, and get some tools and just start messing around with even Sculpey. You know what I mean? Like if you
Yeah,
really want to get into it, like that's where I started with Sculpey because it was easy. I could get it at the local store, and you know what I mean, and just
Yeah,
started messing with that, just with textures mostly, like making something just look completely weird and textury, just to see if I could make bumps and
sure.
holes and things like that. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I haven't changed much. Other than now, I feel like I'm kind of gone into a more cutesy mode because I have a kid and I'm kind of making everything look a little like chubby and fun and like you want to hug it more than kind of gory and like fun
Sure.
and monstery. But I love it all. I like both.
Yeah, for sure. I think that almost everybody that we've ever had on the show that's doing any type of digital sculpting, um, Crumbs, maybe you can point one out. I can't, of someone that actually paid for a course or anything from digital sculpting. I think almost everybody that we've talked to has been, they're like, nah, I just decided to do it. And I think that's one of the benefits of it. Seems like a lot of people had a lot of extra time during COVID, obviously, but I think that's one of the other things that really kind of sprung up during that time was that, that technique and that discipline of digital sculpting, which, McAducky said, he said there's a stigma to 3D, but there's a warming to it in recent years. Yeah, and I agree, dude. I think when that first came out, everybody was like, oh my God, that's not clay, that's not wax, that's not anything. But when you start getting into the process, I mean, that's absolutely a skill, man.
yeah.
The
I feel like most people are digital sculpting now. I can only think of
Sure,
a few people that have like that are still hand sculpting stuff, or hiring somebody else to hand sculpt it for them. Um,
sure,
yeah, yeah. I feel like almost everybody's kind of moved. Even James Groman recently, I think, moved to digital sculpting. Um, right? Am I right about that? I
I
think
think
he
so.
might
This
still be
last
hand
big
sculpting
toy.
too. Um, but yeah, yeah. I mean, I get it. A lot of people. It saves a lot of time, and factories really like it. Because they can just boom, they can print straight to wax. So it it,
sure,
it it saves a lot um, of time in that way as well on the in the post production aspect. But I don't know. I still like going slow. I'm a slow poke, and I like being a slow poke, and I like taking my time. And sculpting is one of my favorite things to do. So why would I want to
sure.
rush through it? I want
Yeah,
I want most of my time in my life to be spent making art, and then like in the downtime, you know, visiting with my family and being with my dogs and seeing my friends and stuff. But
sure.
I like spending a lot of time with the clay. I like that, and I don't need anything to go fast because I'm not like cranking out a bunch of figures every year. You know, I'm like
Sure.
maybe making a toy a year. So it's like if it takes me a few months to sculpt a figure, like that's fine. You know, I'm not like, you know, Toho over here trying to like bust out a new Godzilla toy every month. So
Right. Right.
you know, I get it. I get the desire to want to like get through certain parts of the process quicker, but I I personally, it just doesn't, that just doesn't work for me because
Yeah.
Sure.
the kind of parts of the process that I like to get through quickly are like printing header cards, you know.
Mm,
That's the
yeah.
stuff I want to get done fast, you know. It's just like,
See, I actually like that part almost as much, drawing the header cards and stuff, and that's where I spend a lot of time too.
yeah.
So it's funny. You just kind of, it's either or kind of,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. You find the thing you really love and you spend the time with
yeah,
that, and then the things that
yeah,
you know, you want to, you know, get over with faster, you find ways to make it go faster. And
yeah,
it's like, you know,
and a
for
lot of
instance, like,
stuff.
well,
Uh,
I was just gonna say, you know, eyes. You know, I love using doll eyes, but
yeah,
I don't want to. You know, they've got these little hand poke things and these hand drills you can use for eyes and stuff. I just get a drill press and I turn my drill press on and I just boop
yeah,
boop 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 and go through it because that's faster and that's a
yeah,
part of the process to me that's not as creative that I can kind of streamline, you know.
yes,
But you know, yeah, sculpting, painting, drawing, that's the kind of stuff that I want to spend my time doing and taking my time with. And also, I think there's something to, I think people can sense that, maybe. I don't know, maybe it's all just
hmm,
me, but I think people can see when something has had a whole lot of time and touch put into it.
hmm.
Maybe it's all in my head, but it's something that I feel like I recognize
Oh
in
yeah,
art, just any kind of art, not just toys. Like, you know,
Sure.
paint. You know, when I go to a gallery show for like somebody's paintings, I see stuff that was like digitally painted and then like printed and put on, you know, canvas and put up. It's a totally different vibe for me than going into a show and seeing like you know, oil paintings, you know,
yeah,
where there's a glazing and you can see through the layers of the stuff and the lights bouncing back and stuff. Um, but you know, I know I'm preaching to the choir because we all like to paint here and we all love painting art. I feel like painting the toy is like the most fun. Everybody can agree, and that's the thing I love about the toy communities. Everybody can agree. We all love painting our toys. You
oh
know,
yeah,
it's like there are some
Yeah.
people that still work with factories overseas to have their stuff painted to do like bigger runs and stuff. But man, it's just so much better when you paint your own stuff.
it's satisfying to see like 50 toys that you painted lined up, and you're like, I
Yeah,
did that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's always fun getting ready for like conventions and things. That's always the time that I get, there's a couple weeks where I'm like kind of dreading it, like, okay, here I go, I got to get into this. And then you just kind of like get the mode going, and you just really start churning out some fun stuff. I don't know. It's just cool to look at everything lined up. To me, that's
yeah,
why I kind of do it. And it's more like I'm more excited, about it than anything. I'm like, look at all these toys I just made. Like, I just want to lay on them. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like, yeah, I mean, that's why I do it. Really, I don't really. I mean, I'm not like flying around the country on toy money. That's for sure.
yeah,
I'm like working. I work a full time day job. I work my ass off, and then I sell vintage stuff too, toys and stuff, and then I also my stuff. So that's how I provide myself able to do my toys. And however people do it, however you can do it, whatever makes you happy, do it. You know what I mean? Like that's
yeah.
whatever you can do to get it done, you do it.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the important part. Are you having fun? Are
yeah,
you are you doing it because you love it, you know, and you genuinely love doing the thing? Like that's the important part.
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
agree,
agree.
man. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about the scene, just in general, man, is when you start knowing the process and knowing how much time and effort was put into, um, to put into each piece, and then you kind of get to know the artist a little bit, and then that becomes a thing where that kind of just adds to why you want it. As you guys are getting more and more like as time goes on in the scene, James, you mentioned that like you like that time to spend for sculpting. I think what we've seen from a lot of newer vinyl artists come in, like that is the most frustrating part for them, is that time where they feel like they don't have enough time to, get this out and get this done before a show or whatever it is.
Yeah. The self-imposed, show deadline. Oh, I gotta get ready for decon. It's very
Yeah.
funny to me. But
Yeah. But
it's just
as you have
people
other,
put
yeah.
way too much emphasis on shows. It's like it's not. It's just a show that a bunch of other people are going to as well. It's all just a show. It's not. It's like, oh, people will. This is a chance for people to notice me. People will.
Yeah.
I can network. I can do all the things, and it's like, yeah. Just calm down. It's cool. It's like
I
you're gonna
think
be lucky if you make your table back. Like
100%. And I think
It's for
that's kind of
hanging
what
out
we
with the other crew. Hanging out with other people that do the things that you do is the best part of those shows. I mean,
yeah, that's
for
really
sure.
the only reason to do them. It's
yeah,
because you're not going to make a lot of money
And
no.
you know what?
unless you live there, and then like you don't have to pay
Sure.
for a flight, and you've got a house, and you're just driving in, and that's a whole nother story. Yeah, you're going to make some money,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and
or
I
you have
think
the
that
potential to make some money.
that's funny, man, because I think again, almost everybody that we've talked to when we talk about doing shows and stuff, I don't think there's one person that's come on and said, "Oh man, that show right there, that's a money maker for me. I'm not going to miss that show." It's all these other things that you talk about. But then when you start breaking down, how much the average piece is at their table, and then your all your costs that you're figuring in besides the table, your traveling, your hotel, your food, all that stuff. And then you start doing the math on, well, I'd have to sell X amount of these to even come out on top. I mean, I think those numbers are probably few and far between of people that are actually coming out on top monetarily at a show like that. But like you said, John said it really well. The best part about those shows sometimes is, well, that's what happens when you put too much stuff on your table. Um, is the other aspects of the show. Hanging out with other artists, doing other meeting people, networking, something like that. That's all stuff that's kind of figured into that price, or what we say is kind of figured into that price of an expensive show like Designer Con or something like that. But um, anyway, so getting back into, you guys both said that you had started out in resin. Had you always and we can go back and forth on this, but is was vinyl something that you guys had each had in your sights when you first got into toy making, and was it a gradual workup to the vinyl? I think that's what I've seen. Is I haven't seen too many people. Now, there's a few of them that I have here where their first piece, there's no resin behind it at all. There's just, they came out and they're a vinyl artist. Um, but that's kind of a question for both you guys. Did you have, was vinyl always kind of the end goal for either one of you?
I'm. I mean, I drew and painted first, and then I got into doing resin. But I always had friends. I had friends that were making toys, and I also collected some stuff. I collected vintage toys, and then I started getting into some Western vinyl. I think Mark Nagata was the first piece I ever bought, like back in the early 2000s, of an actual Western vinyl designer, and then that's when I got into that. But I was friends with like Juana Spoons,
Mm,
Lemaire, Martin Onaveras, all these guys who were working with Super 7 and doing these really cool toys back in the early 2000s, and so I was always very like, wow, like that is so cool. Like I would love to be able to make a actual toy, or even at that point I wanted to make an action figure because I'm still obsessed with Planet of the Apes, and I love Planet of the Apes. So it was, for
mm,
me, my only goal was ever to make Planet of the Apes stuff, and that was the only reason I even made my first soft vinyl toy, was to fund making a Planet of the Apes soft vinyl toy. So it was kind of like that was the only reason I wanted to do it, and then everything else just kind of went along, and I got to make some other fun stuff. But it really, my goal has already been met. I did make some Planet of the Apes toys, and I'm really happy with how they came out. But yeah, so that's it with me.
yeah.
But what about?
Uh, I it's funny because when I first started making toy, I didn't really have an end goal or anything. I just kind of like I was before toys. I was making monster suits and creatures for low budget horror movies,
Oh,
and
wow.
And I was getting so burnt out on like the crazy uh schedules, just like no, you get paid shit, and sorry,
Oh,
my French,
no problem
but
here, buddy.
it's just terrible pay, and you're lucky if you make even the budget back, and the amount of time that you spend out of your day. It's like, averaging out 12-hour days, 14-hour days, sometimes no, like all nighters, no sleep for a few days
Sure.
straight. And so I was just like, I love making monsters. I've always made monsters, ever since I was a kid. I've always somehow made monsters into something. And I was like, I gotta find a way to do this that doesn't kill me. And so I was just looking at the toys on my shelf, and it's just like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna make some toys. And I had all kinds of toys in my collection at the time of when I had first started, and I was aware of vinyl. I was first made aware of vinyl toys back in 2007, I think. Lulubelle. When did Lulubelle first kind of really
Nice.
start getting going in
Yeah,
Tucson?
yeah. That was
Yeah,
about that time,
yeah.
2006,
I was
2007.
actually I was living in Tucson from 2007 to 2009, and so I just
Ah,
like I first discovered it like right when it first started sort of like coming into the U.S. And but it wasn't until like 2015 that I was just finally like, yeah, I'm gonna, what, I could do this. I'm gonna make some toys. And so
yeah.
yeah, I think wasn't until I went to my first designer con back in either 2016 or 2017, and people kept coming over to my table being like, "Is this vinyl?" And I was like, "No, this is polyurethane resin," and
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh," and then they would walk away, and people would go and be like, "Hey, is this Sophie?" And I'd be like, "No," and then they just turn around and walk away. And I kind of noticed, I was like, "Oh, if I guess if I want to stay making toys, I'm gonna have to get into the vinyl game." So I just sort of like, you know, transitioned into vinyl from there, and I'm glad I did, because I really fell in love with the process, and
Yeah.
it's a lot, to me, it's a lot more fun than resin, and it's a lot more in depth, and um, it's very rewarding. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, I would think so, man, with especially the production time and waiting on. I mean, I've heard of people waiting for months
yeah,
and months for pieces, and then when you finally get it, I mean, I think we've all seen the unboxings of when someone gets a toy in from the factory, and how how exciting that can be for them to
yeah.
see
It's
the kind
exciting
of
because it
labor of
feels
love.
like a real toy. It's
Sure.
like, oh,
Hmm.
factory made it. It's real. It's like,
And
what,
masses of them,
and masses of them. Yeah,
multiples.
you
Yeah,
didn't have
that's what
you,
always
you didn't
made
have
me
to like
stuck.
sand yourself. Like sand the seams off of. But I will say this, not to crap on resin. I still think resin is very important, and I
Oh
think
yeah.
resin toys are amazing. And there are some resin artists out there who are making incredible work,
Oh yeah.
and also, whenever somebody who's first getting into toys, starts talking to me about wanting to make a toy, I always tell them, like, you need to start with resin.
Yeah.
Spend
Learn how to make a
spend it.
mold.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Learn how to work with undercuts. Learn
Hmm.
how to, like, take your time with the process. Hand sculpt some stuff, cast in silicone, or mold it in silicone, cast them in resin. You know, get get a little following together before you start wanting to make a designer toy. Because if you just like, right out the gate, you're just like, here I am, world, here's my self final toy that I spent,
Hmm.
$5,000 to produce, and like, don't you want it? And everybody, who the hell are you? It's like,
Yeah.
Sure.
like, yeah, like, take some time to
You
get
kind of have
into
to
the
earn it
scene.
a little bit.
You do, it's not like to be gatekeeping or anything. It's just
No,
to,
no.
it's like, it's just good, it's just better for you. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, kind of like when you take a plant, you know from the store. You don't go pick out like a 10-gallon bucket, tree, and then come over in your yard dig a hole and just throw it in there and expect it's going to do well. No, you get like a small little 1 gallon tree, you put some
Nurture.
mulch, some compost, you baby it for a few years, and then finally, boom, you've got a nice tree. You know?
Yeah, I still use resin for like accessories and things like that because
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for accessories. So, I'll still do stuff, and
yeah,
every once in a while I'll make a mold or print some out. But
yeah,
it's a needed thing still, definitely,
yeah,
100%.
totally.
Like,
Yeah, definitely. Me too. Actually, I made a little this little guy named Skunky. He's like a little baby Bigfoot, and I just did a release for Wonderfest a month
nice,
ago that he had like a little, it was like a little Totoro colorway theme, like a cool
cool.
homage. And so
Yeah,
I hand sculpted a little leaf and like cast it in resin, because there's no way you can get like a soft vinyl leaf shape, it's like
yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
so I made these little like resin leaves to go on top, like his little leaf umbrella, like in the movie,
yeah. Cool,
It was
cool.
it was so fun. So yeah, there's definitely always once you've learned resin, you're never going to stop using it. So
Yeah.
No.
it's a great skill to have. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, don't rob yourself of the opportunity to learn all the tools before you you know
And there's
start
so many
learning, right?
tutorials now. It's like you can really watch a lot of things that really teach you quite a bit. Back when I first started doing it, there was hardly anything, and most of it was like nothing to do with toys. It was more kind of other things that you were kind of like, okay, well, that's how, like, this is, even finding out the material that people used to make the molds was really, really hard,
Yeah,
like 15 years ago or whatever.
seriously.
It was, it was weird. It's weird. It's not like now, where you can just get paint from people and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I was
Yeah,
getting paint from so many different people, and I was getting paint from a guy that I didn't know if I was actually going to get the paint sent to me. Like, I'd send him the money, and months would go by, months, and it would finally arrive, and then I'd get it and I'd be like, yes, I got it. But yeah, so things, it's great. I love the way things have kind of evolved into where it's going and where it's been, and I
yeah.
don't know, I love it.
Yeah, it's a lot more welcoming now than it was 10 years ago, for sure.
For
Yeah,
sure, man. Now, is that so? Did you want to say something, Crumbs? Did you have a question?
Wow. I mean, how can we not touch on
Yeah.
the paint part? I'm sorry. Like we
Sure.
gotta plop that a little bit because, I mean, Barely Human's got a bunch of them on their desk right there, and of course,
yeah,
like
I just painted up a bunch of stuff
and you're
with
responsible for making a
with
bunch of that
vinyl
paint.
wonder.
Thanks, man.
That's
Those look
good, man.
good.
Yay!
Yeah,
Damn, man.
Nice,
that looks
nice.
really nice. Nice colors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
And this is on glow. This is a weird Brazilian glow vinyl.
I like that.
And
That's a
here's
weird glow.
one.
It's like a yellowish, like dirty glow.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
vintagey looking, and then it's just a white vinyl. But this guy
That's
looks pretty
cool.
cool.
I
But
like how
yeah,
you've always just used that same Brazilian factory, right? For everything you do?
everything up until my newest stuff, I've been getting done in China for So Fubi Giant or whatever, Rabbit Giant.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I've got
they're
a couple
cool. Yeah.
toys made with them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've all my stuff's been made in Brazil.
Nice.
I
That's
got
cool.
really lucky in 2020. Alex, a guy from Brazil, hit me up and was like, he saw I did the planetoids. The first run I did was a vinyl, or it was a resin for a show that Dove was putting on from
Yeah.
DKE. And he hit me up. He saw I posted it, and he was like, "Man, would you ever be into making vinyl toys?" And I'm like seriously, dude, like yeah, like forever, but. And you don't know, and this guy's in from Brazil, and he doesn't really speak English, and we're kind of talking through WhatsApp, and we start working together, and then he asked for money, and it's kind of like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I don't know if I'm ever see these toys, but I'm gonna go for it. And so that's kind of where I started, and then we made a great relationship, and I've sent a million people to him, and anybody who ever wants even sculpting work done. I mean, he does all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh,
Like
that's
this
cool.
whole run
Oh
you went
yeah,
through them, eh?
yeah, yeah. I did like 20 characters total, I think it ended up being all together. I basically
Wow.
just started with two bodies, and I just kept making heads and having them like make four heads at a time. And that's kind of how I wanted to do that series. But, they're goofy, and, obviously, it's based off Star Wars and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's,
My favorite of yours is the chooch. I still got your little
Oh
oh,
orange
yeah.
nice.
chooch that you gave me. It's really
Man,
cool.
John, I think one of the very first designer cons that I went to hit up your table to grab one of those chooches, man, and those things were gone, dude. Those things have been good sellers for you throughout the years, I think, man. I think almost, at least from what I've been tracking, I mean, they pretty much sell out anytime that you put them out there.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't have them anymore. That's 5 years ago is when I first started selling them. But yeah, that was a good character. That's my favorite character probably too. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's fun. It's fun to paint.
Yeah.
I thought about actually making it in a larger size. I kind of wanted to do like a 12-inch, like a based
Oh
off of
yeah.
like a Star Wars 12-inch,
That'd be
super
cool.
non-articulated, just the head and stiff,
Yeah.
nice stiff body.
That'd be funny.
But yeah, man, it's been fun, and that was basically I did that. It was like I did a couple heads, and then I was just like, oh my god, this is so fun, and then I just kept doing more and more and more, and where I was like, I had done like all of them basically before I had them made, and then I just kept kind of looking at them, messing with them, and then I got hit up, and then I was like,
Nice.
okay, I guess it was meant to be. Let's do this,
Yeah. Yeah. It's serendipitous.
Yeah, yeah. So the Brazilian quality is not completely there, but
Well, it's
what I
perfect. You're
wanted
doing like a bootleg thing, so it kind of fits, right?
exactly, and I wanted it to be like something you found in another country at a bodega or something weird. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
wanted it
sure.
to look kind of just cool shitty. You know what I mean? It could be
Yeah.
shitty, but not super shitty, but like kind of cool shitty is how I
Yeah.
describe it. But
That's
yeah,
the way I
it
feel
worked
about
out.
like Mexican resin, when you
Hmm.
have like those old style or old looking like 5.5 figures, man, that are just, bagged up and we talk about it all the time, dude. It's so bootleggy good, right? You
Hmm.
look at it and you're just like, man, that is bootleg as hell, but that is so freaking cool.
Yeah.
And I could see that being the case for vinyl as well. Do either one of you guys collect vinyl, like outside of, I don't think you collect your own stuff, but do you collect other vinyl pieces from anybody?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
a ridiculous amount.
I've kind of slowed down a lot
I have
the
too.
past couple of years, but I got a pretty good like imperial gourmet like Chinosaur kind of collection.
sure.
That's the kind of stuff I
Nice.
grew up with, so I really love that stuff. Um, and I've got over the years just lots of toys from like trades and gifts from people and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that, and
Mhm.
some things just kind of like find their way, like really crazy things just find their way to me, like through either family or friends, like some really sometimes very rare finds and things that just sort of end up in my lap that I wasn't even hunting for.
Sure.
Like just a few years ago, my friend Lee, um, we did a trade. He wanted to trade for something I had, and he gave me like the 1974 Mecha Godzilla, like the one that's got the firing missiles,
Oh wow.
like the Bullmark one, like the big jumbo guy, still in the
Nice.
package and everything. And I was just
Oh
like,
wow.
whoa, like, or there was this one time, like my friend Shane, gave me this. He needed a foam latex oven. I had like hand built like a foam latex oven with my dad, over a decade ago for the horror movie industry, and it could fill out with like Halloween masks. You could just bake them all in there, and I just gave it to him. And so he came over one day and just gave me this giant, um, you know, it was this giant destroyer Godzilla from like the big giant orange one that you had to get like at the premiere for Godzilla versus Destroyer, in the
Oh
90s. Like you
wow.
had to be in Japan, and they only sold this
Nice.
toy like at the theater in the little gift shop, attached to the theater. And and so like yeah, I just have all these crazy toys that like I just sort of pop up in my lap, but I don't I don't do a lot of hunting around or anything. But there was a little while when I like would go on a tear for like one certain artist or like one
Yeah,
certain
me too.
company or something, like Marathon or something like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm running out of room, so I've had to start kind of giving things away and making space for
Yeah.
plants and things.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, space is always an issue for sure. Now we kind of briefly touched on like Japanese vinyl, man. I think one of the things that really turns me on to vinyl here in the US, I'll be quite honest with you, dude, is the price point. It just seems like it's a lot more for the everyday collector. You know, some of that stuff that's like, five, six, seven, $800 and up, per piece. I've heard a lot of people complain about people just coming in to buy those and then mark them up and to resell them. I don't see that a whole lot with stuff made here in the states. I don't know if you guys see that or not, but um,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I don't think there are a lot of. I think most of the folks that are making stuff in the states probably aren't attracting that kind of customer base. Thankfully, I think
right,
most of the U.S. makers are attracting like a genuine following of people that just
Hmm.
want to like collect the stuff because they want to support the artist, not because they're looking at it as like an investment to flip one
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
Um, that'll probably all change with time, when more, depending on who gets involved with making stuff in the US, and that's
sure,
fine. There's a yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
yeah, no, that I think that's you're right, dude. I don't think I haven't seen that style of collector, in this scene, and I think that's at least in the states, with a lot of
Yeah,
the artists
I
from the
think it's
states.
probably has something to do with, like, Japanese made stuff has a certain um what's the word? Help me out, John. Like I'm
Is it
trying to
like a mystique?
the whole made in Japan thing
Sure.
is
yeah,
has I think the bubble is starting to burst a little bit, but for a while it's definitely been the made in Japan, you know uh label has garnered a lot of ooh
Yeah,
Right.
ooh
yeah,
yeah.
it makes it more special. It's
Just
a
yeah,
hype.
yeah,
true
it's like, oh,
safubi.
it's just like, and I get it, that's pretty much where it all started. So
Yeah, and the
um
quality is really good.
it sometimes, not
Yeah,
always. I've
sometimes, not
I've gotten
always.
I've
Yep.
gotten stuff made in Japan that came back that had still had like the part lines in there and everything, and air
Okay.
bubbles and stuff. They have all the same problems as China, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
it's like it's just kind of at this point, if you're in the US, if you're a maker in the US, you're probably feeling the pinch, and you're probably thinking to yourself, I got to find a more affordable way to do this. I can't be like, spending $8,000 so I could write made in Japan on the bottom of my toy. Like no one
Right.
really cares. Like the collectors that really love your work, the collectors that really care, don't care where you made it.
Right.
They just want
So
you to be
are
honest about where you made it. They don't want you to say like made in Japan, but really you made it in China, or, like, you know, made in USA, but you really made it in Brazil or something. It's like, yeah, it's like
yeah,
Sure.
you just got to be honest with where you made it. But
yeah,
you know, other than that, people don't really care. They just want to support an artist because
Sure.
they like the artist, and so
yeah,
I think a lot of people are moving towards figuring out how to make it themselves in the U.S. or working with someone who works in the U.S. because it's just a lot more affordable. It's it's here. The shipping is a lot less.
For sure.
yeah,
Um, there's a lot. It's a lot easier to talk to the person, and communicate.
Sure.
yeah. The communication
Um,
is most key too. I feel like, you
yeah,
know.
we just need more places. There's just not a lot of people, um, you know, doing it. And so I think right now there's like a big movement of just like do it yourself. I think
Yeah,
that's been like the emphasis, like with like people like the craftsman, um, making the videos and showing
I
everybody
love
how to
his
do it.
videos.
Yeah, his videos are great, very informative. There's a lot of people that are coming out and just okay, yeah, I can just, if I have like a little space in my shop and I've got some good, like ventilation, and, I've got the right PPE, and I've got, the right kind of brain to be able to like deal with, working with, you know, dangerous materials, then yeah, why not? Like it's it's definitely more in depth and harder to do than like, resin casting.
Hmm.
But
Sure.
if you've got patience and you've got time,
Yeah.
to willing to make some messes, then
Hmm.
uh and yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point, man, about having a place in the U.S., man. I think everything that you named there, the time, the communication, the shipping, all that stuff, man. I think those are some of the three biggest drawbacks that we hear when people are talking about getting vinyl made overseas. Like you said, John, the communication is probably first and foremost. Where sometimes I mean, we're talking about completely different time zones. Then you have the language barrier in there too. So that's another hurdle to jump over. But people seem to be doing fine with it. But I would think it would be
Yeah,
easier if you were doing something here in the States. It'd probably ease a few of those problems for sure.
Well, yeah, and a lot of those places are just like packed with people right now. Like a lot of those factories, to where you're like 50th in line all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like it
yeah,
just can
Sure.
go from one, and you know what I mean. I'm not gonna lie. There's people that get bumped to the front of the line. You know what I mean? There's people that
yeah.
are like hyped up, and that are,
Hmm.
people they like that toy, so they're gonna make that toy quicker.
Yep.
So I've never worked with anybody in the U.S. I've had several people. What's his name? Low Tech has been. We've been talking for a long time about working together, and then a couple other people. I've not made anything with anybody yet, but I'm definitely down, and I think it's definitely the coolest thing since resin for sure.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think it's exciting.
Yeah,
I've been that's what I've been working on for
yeah,
the past over a year now, is just trying to get my little setup so that I can start making my own toys.
that's
We
great.
actually we're putting in the trying to put in the AC today in our factory. That's
Oh wow,
oh yeah, you
I
got a
was creeping
picture.
your Patreon earlier because,
Yeah,
dude, you're going all out on this. Fuck,
yeah.
100 degrees Fahrenheit. Fuck off.
Yeah, man. Oh god, it was so hot. We had to stop. We thought we were going to be able to get all that insulation up in a few days, and after the first day of wearing those Tyvek suits, looking like that, and like 100 degree heat index, we just said, okay, we got to get the AC in first. So we've been
wow.
trying to put the
Uh,
installing the AC today, and tomorrow we should hopefully have it in there
That's so
and
exciting,
running.
man. Congrats.
Thanks. It's just me and my dad. Occasionally, we'll have like a
Fuck
friend
yeah,
come out and help us with something, or a little
that's where
hiring
it's at
hand.
right there.
Come on, but yeah, it's just we're taking our time, because we like working together, and we also are both a bit of perfectionists, unfortunately,
Nice.
and
Yeah,
so it kind of slows things down. But yeah, it's been real fun. We're getting the home stretch here. Getting the home stretch.
Nice.
cool,
Nice. I
man.
remember people, there was kind of a little bit of a buzz, maybe not so vocal at Assembly Required when I met you in person, James, but I had heard a couple people talking about you possibly opening up a factory
Yeah,
out in Georgia, and you can just
yeah,
tell that people were very, very excited by that
yeah.
to
I
eliminate all the stuff that we just talked about.
Yeah, well, I've I'm not sure. I'm going to say the same thing I said then. I'm still not sure if I'm going to be able to make other people's toys yet. First, I got to see
Sure.
if I'm good enough to make my own toys, and
Sure.
and
Yeah,
then and then I need some time to get good enough at it to where I can feel comfortable training somebody else to do it. And then that's going to take enough time for me to feel comfortable to bring
yeah,
clients in. I'll probably start with just a few close friends in the toy scene to just like so that if I screw things up, they'll forgive me, because I know I've seen, some people they'll they'll jump right in and they'll go full hog, and then later on they'll be like, pulling their hair out, stressed out because they bit off more than they can chew, and I don't want to make that mistake. So I'm
Sure.
definitely going to be. It'll be a while before I'm at the point, like a lot of these factories, like overseas and stuff are doing. It'll be a bit before I'm able to do all that, I think.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch the progress.
Thanks.
Right?
Thank you.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
man, and I think it's tracking along pretty well, right? With like the increase of vinyl that I've seen come out of the States. I mean, now I've only been following vinyl, from the States for the last couple years, but it seems like it's more and more and more. And going back to what you were saying about Rabbit Giant, I mean, they seem to be a hot factory right now. And I was talking to a couple other artists that have honestly, John, that I think that they've been in that position that you talked about, where your stuff gets pushed to the front, and then so that means somebody's coming back, and then you're just waiting longer and longer. I mean, I guess I could see it from the factory's point of view, where they're trying to get as much business as possible, and they're trying to grow
Hmm.
just like everybody else. But yeah, I could see, and then once you start to realize that, you start to really understand, um, the issues that some artists have with so many artists coming out, whether they're experienced or not. And it's nothing. I don't think it's anything against them personally, but it's just that you factor one more ingredient into the final recipe, and it gets longer and longer and longer. I guess the silver lining is that. That could lead to U.S. factories being produced, which is super cool. I think that would really help everybody out. So good luck with that, man. That sounds like it's an ongoing process. The fact that you're doing it with your dad, that's super cool, man. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, he's the best. I'm a lucky son.
Yeah.
Huge.
Oh, dude, 100 degrees in Tyvek suits. You are a maniac, dude. Holy smokes. We work with a couple trades out here who they're in those things all day, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't know how you can do that for 30 plus years, man. It's just every
You
day.
know,
That's insane.
I can work in the heat. I'm a July baby, so I've always and I grew up I've lived here in Georgia on this land pretty much my whole life, except for the few years I spent out in Tucson and a few years that I spent down in Savannah. But I've always lived in hot places, and so I can handle the heat. Um, but when I'm wearing something that I can't breathe in, like a Tyvek suit, that's where it's like, okay, stop. This is not natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like a reverse wetsuit, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, what's next on the docket for you, fine gentlemen? What about you, John? What you got coming up? Any shows?
Yep. Actually, tomorrow I'm doing a show with Buana and a few other people at the final. I think it's the final day at this mall that the Floating World was at. A
Yeah.
pretty popular comic place here in Portland. So I'm excited. Buana invited me to be a part of it. He didn't invite a ton of people, so I feel pretty honored. And I painted up some some custom stuff, and I got a couple hand puppets that I'll be bringing. My ape hand
wow,
puppet,
Oh,
that's
King
cool.
nice.
Kong, so you can
That's
relive the
awesome.
adventure.
I like
And
that. I love
yeah,
King
so I'm
Kong.
doing that, and then Texas. Going to Texas for the first time, bringing my whole family. So I'm excited.
Nice. Kaiju
Oh,
Go?
nice. Are
Yeah,
you going to Kaiju
Kaiju
Go?
Go. I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll see you
Yeah,
there,
so I'm
man. I'm
very.
going.
Oh,
I'm going there
cool.
too.
I'm very excited. Yeah, I was up and down with it, and it's like the weather
It's
and
the
all
best
this. I'm like,
show.
you know what? Yeah, and
It's
it
the
sounds
best
like
show.
it. It
It's
sounds
the
like
best
it.
one.
I've heard so many good things,
It's the
so
those
I'm
guys are
very
those guys are
excited.
the best. I
Cool.
love
I love hearing that from you.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love I love that show. Um
So yeah, that's my next thing, and then Japan in November for
Wow.
the Mondreke festival that they do there, the rally there that I'm
cool.
doing with my buddy from Brazil, Tiago from Resonant Gem. I don't know if you guys
Oh,
Nice.
know him
nice.
too, but yeah. So
Sweet.
we met up there a couple years ago, and we're doing it again, and we're pretty excited to hang out with him and then be in Japan again.
Sweet.
That's
Nice.
awesome,
So
man.
that's
That
it.
Yeah,
sounds like
very
fun,
cool.
Yeah,
dude.
packed year.
Yeah, no kidding, man. That is a packed year. So is it a show that you're doing in Japan?
Yeah, it's the Sofubi rally that Mondrake does. at the Coco Mondrake Coco in I think it's in Akabara. Um, but yeah, they do it every year. It's getting bigger and bigger. But it's what's cool about the shows in Japan. They all feel like little shows. You know what I mean? You get a table. It's not super fancy. It feels kind of like almost like a toy swap meet in a way. You know what I mean? It's
Sure.
fun. And you know the booths aren't $1,000. They're a couple $100, and it's different. So and the people and the vibe, it's awesome. And I'm very excited to get back there and get
Nice.
some inspiration and see people that I met there last year or the year before.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
What about you, James? What's around the corner for you?
I'm going to Kaiju Go in Dallas, and that's it for me. I'm probably gonna take a bit of a break uh, from shows for a bit after that, just because
Hmm.
I just you got to get this factory done.
Yeah, I would assume that's pretty time consuming there.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is. Yeah, I have not done a lot of toy work this year. It's been mostly just construction.
yeah, so I mean that kind of I there was a question that I skipped earlier, and that kind of when you don't have time, or you don't have something going in the factory, is it easy to kind of dip back into those old sculpts and like put out like a new run of Papa Squatches or anything like that where you're not having to wait for it, and so you can have that downtime where you're not
Yeah.
doing toys, and you can just kind of you still be selling at the same time. I mean, when I saw you had something required, you had a table full of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to make sure I go all out at the shows. That's kind of mostly what I've spent my toy time doing this year is just making stuff for the show. For like I did assembly, started off with assembly required, then I was invited to do collected con, and then I did Wonderfest here in Atlanta, the MomoCon, and and now I'm doing Kaiju Go. And so I'm only doing 4 shows this year, and which for me is a lot. And I just haven't really done any releases except for just making stuff for those shows, and then whatever's left over goes online, and that's pretty much it. That's because
Yeah, same.
I just haven't had a lot of time to keep up with doing drops and stuff when I'm trying to get all this stuff built. And
Sure.
I'm also trying to. I've made the mistake in the past of living, breathing, my work all the time. Everything toys, or before it was toys, everything, movies, everything movies, or before that, everything
Yeah, you
painting,
go
everything.
all in or nothing.
Yeah, it's like all in, just like workaholic mode, and
Hmm.
over the past couple of years, I've really tried to work life balance out things, and so, I'm doing more gardening now, and
Same.
I'm taking more time to, just like hang out with friends, locally here, my friends that I've known, since I was high school and stuff, just being a person, and not trying to overdo myself. And so when I'm done working on the factory, and we're hot, and it's time to eat dinner, and then I want to wind down in the evening instead of like
Sure.
Hmm.
necessarily going in and like making the next toy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, man, I would think that especially with something like vinyl, there's got to be kind of a work life balance
There is,
there.
I think
Yeah.
there's phases that people go into. Like right now, I'm in an I'm in like a cocoon phase. I feel like I'm in sort of like an egg phase where I'm just sort of like I'll hatch out, it'll hatch out, I'll come out soon, maybe in a year, another year or so. I don't know, we'll see. And but like I'm just kind of focusing on getting things set up here so that I can be more self-sustainable,
yeah.
and just taking my time with that. And then once I get the factory done, everything, then I'll get back to just like making a whole bunch of toys.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
There you go.
Sure, man. I mean, Wonder Goblin, I'm going to kind of circle back to what we were talking about earlier, too. With your Wonder Vinyl paints, I'm sure that some of, like, your knowledge and know-how would have come from some of the past stuff you were working on. And then, of course, everybody hates painting vinyl. How and kind of why did you end up breeding that whole other avenue while you're also trying to do all the toys? Or what did that kind of look like for you?
Well, I just got tired of not having options, and I got tired of working with the stuff that I had access to. I
Mhm.
was like before I started making my own paint, I was using like fishing lure paint, and it was like this thick snot like stuff that
Yeah,
was always very translucent, and you had to like add extra pigment to get it to really look good, and you have to grind it down and do all this stuff with it to get it to spray nice. And I was just like, man, why doesn't anybody like sell this as like a ready spray thing, like ready to go, like in an airbrush? Like it's not hard. You just, like just boom, boom, 1 to 2, or 1 to 1, whatever the ratio is. For me, I wanted to do something that was like I wanted to be able to make a concentrate, like an affordable concentrate, so that people who were trying to paint on a budget could get that concentrate and mix it themselves, 2 to 1, and get more bang for their buck. Instead of doing like a 1 to 1, they could get like 3 ounces of ready spray instead of just 2 ounces. So because that was important to me. It was like I knew I would always kind of get stressed out at the bill of painting, when it was time to buy new paints, and then like
yeah,
realizing how much it was going to cost, especially if you're going to like get stuff from overseas, and then
yeah.
like, pay a mule to ship it back, or like, smuggle it on a plane, which is what we used to do.
Dude, like you coming out with that paint was like literally like a godsend to me as a because I was just
Thanks,
getting. I
man.
mean, I've been painting for a long time, and like I told you, I was having such a hard time getting a regular paint stuff,
Yeah,
and I was really getting into painting, but I couldn't get enough of it, or I couldn't get the what I wanted because I
yeah,
was doing larger runs and stuff, and I
yeah.
needed certain colors. And then when you came out with your stuff, I was just like, it was perfect, man. Like it
Thanks,
was
man.
like the
Yeah.
perfect timing, and I've had nothing but luck with it, and it's so durable. And this is not like kissing your ass because I don't need to. I mean, I still buy it. It's not like you're sending me stuff. So it's like it's just so durable. Like you could drop your toy. Like I'm clumsy, and
Yeah,
sometimes
me
I'll just
too.
drop my toy on accident, and I'll be like, "What the fuck," And I'll look, and it will be just fine. It's
Yeah.
perfect. It's like, and I
Yeah,
drop, and I have
as long
cement
as you didn't
floors.
just as long as
Yeah,
as long as it's dried, yeah, you're good.
it's dried, and I also use a clear coat, and I do clear coat on it and stuff.
Yeah,
And
that
it's
helps.
literally like I could heat it up, pull it apart, bend it. It's just really awesome, and I
Thanks, man.
appreciate it, man. It makes such a big difference when you're trying to do 25 toys or 50
Yeah,
toys
it
to
does.
have a
And
good solid paint.
yeah, you and I first started making toys around the same time. So you remember that was the time of Monster Color when we first got in.
That's what it was. Yeah,
That was Monster Color was having their time to shine, and
yeah.
everybody thought that was vinyl paint back
And
then.
Mad Ape.
And Mad Ape, yeah, Mad Ape is who's still selling stuff, I think.
Hmm.
But Monster Color, it came out, it was like, oh, that's that we found out. I think somebody uh, who was hired on to help mix the paint, revealed to some people on Skull Brain that like, oh, it's just white labeled automotive paint, you know. And so I had heard that, through the grapevine, and was just like, oh man, how many. And sure enough, some of my pieces that I painted in Monster Color have since, the stuff is just kind of flaked off. And
Hmm.
I've seen other artists work where this it just because it's urethane paint. It's not
And you
chemically
could,
bonded.
if you send them the money, you might get the stuff, or you might get an email 3 months later saying, "Oh, we don't have those anymore." And I mean, like, wait, why didn't you tell me like 3 months ago? I'm like,
Why wasn't it
I'm
marked
trying
out
to
of
do it.
stock? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
it's
wrong
like, oh, it
website.
was so frustrating. And then you came out, and it
Oh
was like, fuck yes,
yeah,
fuck
yeah.
yes, yeah.
Right now we're going through a thing. Actually, we're it's we lost our moisture scavenger ingredient,
Oh,
and a company bought up a big company, bought up this other company, and now that big company doesn't want to sell the the moisture scavenger to us unless we buy three, 50-gallon drums minimum. and we use such a tiny bit in our paint. We'll go through like a gallon a year, you know. And so they're like wanting me to buy like 160 gallons of this stuff, and I'm like, that's literally like 3 lifetimes of
Yeah.
chemicals. That's ridiculous. I can't afford that. That's crazy, you know. So we're right now we're kind of unfortunately having a hard time finding a company that sells this type of thing, because I'm just now learning, that it is actually a very rare. Not a lot of industries here in the U.S. use this,
Wow.
and so we're having a hard time sourcing this thing. So there's been a lot of stuff sold out on our website lately. So I apologize to anybody
Yeah.
watching that has been wondering where the peach is and where the turquoise is and where the midnight buana is and all the things. We're trying to get stuff made, but it's hard because we ran out of that stuff, and I don't want to make new paint until I get that, because I don't want the quality of the paint to go down, from not having it. So, um, so things have kind of slowed down here at the paint factory, but
That
we will
happens.
figure it out. We'll find the stuff, and we'll get it. We'll get it made.
Um, James, there was a question in the comments here. There was somebody from overseas was asking if there's a way that people over in Europe can get that stuff. I know that flying is a no-no. I tried to bring some of that back from AR, and they put a stop to that real quick.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I recently got a distributor in Mexico. I'm trying to find distributors in Europe. If anybody knows anybody that's interested in distributing, it's a lot easier for us to just send a big shipment to another country than like a bunch of small shipments, because there's a lot we have to, like, if what I've done this for some friends before, or people who've really bugged me a lot and really want the stuff. I'll ship a package, but I can't guarantee that it's going to make it, because especially right now with the way things are in our country, there's a lot of retaliatory. Everything's so stupid in our country right now, that with shipping and tariffs and all the, what is it? Do we have them? Do we don't? What's, like, it's just like, I've had so many packages that I've tried shipping overseas that get sent right back to me 3 months later, completely
mhm.
crushed and damaged, uh, and rejected, and it's just it's risky, but I can
Hmm.
try. I can, if there was somebody in Europe, I think it was in the UK, who recently told me that they would be interested in getting a bunch of artists together over there and put in a big order,
That's a
Mm.
good idea.
and I could ship it to one person, and then that person could ship it out to all the other people, and
Sure.
that would be easier for me to do. So if somebody wants to do something like that, shoot me an email at the info@vinylwonder.com, and one of us will get back to you, and we'll try to make that happen for you.
Nice, man. I've seen that work in reverse, right? Where there's people from overseas that are sending boxes of stuff to the States and then having it distributed here in the States, which really cuts
Yeah.
down on that shipping cost to the end buyer and then
Yeah,
really
because it's
speeds up that
expensive.
shipping time.
You'll end up
Yeah.
paying about the same amount of shipping, or maybe more sometimes, than the order, to get something shipped overseas, especially
Yeah.
paint.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say for toys and paint too, right? For
Yeah.
sure. Wow. Well, fellas, we've been at this for about an hour and a half there. Crumbs, did you have anything else you wanted to
Yeah.
ask either one of these stellar humans?
We
So
got
before we kick you guys out, Barely Human, if you had your house on fire, you can only take one toy with you. What are you taking, dude?
Oh God. uh, let's see. What would it be? Um, can I take a shelf?
Oh no! What? You're grabbing one toy and you are getting out of there before it all melts to a buried flame.
Um, probably my probably my Mattel Godzilla from childhood.
Oh, fair. Childhood toy. A good grab.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, now you're in the hot seat. Come on, your house is on burning down, man. What toy are you grabbing?
Oh, probably my Imperial Godzilla.
Two
I know it's a
Godzillas.
cheap toy. It's like I could get one on eBay for like $10 probably, you know. But that's the one that like it's got my kid finger grime all over it, you know.
Oh, frick. Both of you so sentimental. Alrighty, bam.
Boom.
Maybe. They don't.
What's
They
up,
probably
dude?
don't know. So if you guys probably don't know, but we're dicks. But we're just kick people out of here when it's all done and said and ready to go. Sorry. You're
Bring him
learning
back
about
in. Bring him
a
back
little.
in real
Oh,
quick.
oh, so
Just
be
so
it.
we can
Okay.
say bye-bye.
All right, all right.
See you
Gentlemen, thank
guys.
you. Absolutely, man. Thank you guys for being on the show. Boom. Appreciate it. Hour and a half. That went by quick, man. We could probably do 3 or 4 hours.
You
But
know
damn.
what I really like about these episodes where we've got multiple guests on actually is, um, like for probably the first 20 minutes we didn't have to say shit. We get because we watch artists. We both know artists, but they're in the trenches. You know what I mean? It's almost kind of like reading a book or seeing Saving Private Ryan, and then you're at dinner as your grandfather's shaking, telling his buddy, being like, "Remember when we shot those?" And you're like, "Oh damn, that was different than just watching the movie," you know? So they're
Yeah.
in that stage. They're in it, so they can both kind of bounce off and relate what they've gone through and what they've seen and what they've dealt with and the horrors of art.
Absolutely, man. And I think what's really cool is that they were both in it before this 2020 rush, right? And so they've seen kind of like what it was like before, what it's like now, and kind of where it's going. But you talk about like, as far as US vinyl goes, people being there at the beginning of when it happened, dude, I really think that the designer toy and resin vinyl US scene, I think is still in its infancy when we look at it over a timeline. And these guys are at the forefront of making things happen. I mean, we're talking about, a factory in the United States. And when you look at an industry as a whole, um, a factory in a certain place is one of the first things that I think really shows that it's growing because there's enough stuff out there. James is pretty steady on getting his own stuff produced first, which I think makes sense for anybody. Obviously you want to make your own stuff first,
Well,
right?
and not even out of a like in a dick way, more in a I want to make sure I know what I'm doing.
A hundred
First.
percent.
You
Yeah,
know, do a
hundred
couple
percent.
drops, see if you can actually consistently get the recipe down, all that stuff. Yeah,
Right.
and running a business isn't easy. Like I couldn't imagine, man. He wears a lot of hats
For
besides just the
sure.
purple one.
Yeah, besides just the purple one, exactly. Um, Yeah, dude, the vinyl, it's such a it's a different game, man. But I really like how they kind of tied in resin, and James said it straight up, and actually, and John said too. They both started off in resin, and they both feel like it's still a necessary thing. John said that he was still making some accessories and weapons and stuff out of resin, and when you look at that whole process, from getting that done in a factory versus doing one in resin, there's you can see a lot of benefit to that. The other thing that we didn't really get into, dude, is uh, we've seen a lot of pieces out there, a lot of artists using a resin pieces on a vinyl toy, and so you have this combination of two. Like Epoch's a good one where he does a little bit of both, and then puts them together, and I think that's always a
Well,
um,
and so this is the one Wonder Goblin was talking about as well,
sure.
where they had done the leaf in the resin, and they were able to basically just put it on the vinyl. And it's like, yeah, that really adds a whole other element just by adding that resin piece on there versus him sitting chilling that way.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
You have quite a pile there behind you, my friend, and obviously it's going to take us a moment to kind of show some of that off. Why don't we give you the full screen and let you kind of pull out some pieces and show us some of that beautiful artwork you have there?
Shirley, let me grab one more thing because John
Yeah.
brought it up when he was talking about
How many
is
fucking how many bud squatches do you have? I heard.
oh I think I have 4.
Oh, okay, because there's actually a council of collectors. We've agreed only you can only have one. Everybody can only have one. So you're gonna have to get rid of 3 of those, my friend.
Okay, I'll consider that. There was actually, you know what? I don't see it in front of me. I know I put it somewhere, but one of those skeletons that John had brought up. Oh, look at that eye! It's disgusting.
Oh, jeez.
Um, but yeah, that figure's dope, man. And we didn't get into the people that are just painting vinyl. I mean, we touched on it a little bit with that, with the Vinyl Wonder paint, but um, you know, a lot of pieces get painted by other artists, man. And the other question that I would have for them is, like, what's that process like, dude? Is there ever, the end goal to just get it out to other artists and have them paint it? We're going to take a look at a lot of stuff here tonight that it's basically a collab, made by one person, painted by another person, and I love those pieces to get those involved. But yeah, it's just
I'm sure you like me that sometimes you've gotten two birds with one stone that way. So you're
mm,
in maybe like a resin artist's page, who you're in their store, you find a vinyl that they bought from somebody else that you probably wouldn't be able to get anymore, that
sure.
they've painted, and you're like, well, shit, I've wanted one of those for my collection. They're a little hard to find these days, and I've got an opportunity to buy one of your painted versions of it right now. Well, I'm obviously on your page because I like your work, so this is a win-win-win for everybody, you know?
Yeah, dude, and I love surfing through people's shops and then seeing that there's a piece and it was painted by somebody else. You're like, oh shit, and that's what's very cool about not only like the sculpting style. John was really talking about that. Barely Human was talking about his style, how it's more, um, you know, I don't even know how to explain that, but he said he's got a lot of rounded edges and his stuff seems a little bit more cutesy these days and has the influence from his daughter and stuff. But as far as the paint goes, you can really start seeing people's style and paint as well. Where you can look at somebody's piece and maybe you get to the point where you know who painted it right away without even asking. So
100%, man.
yeah, yeah. Very cool, man. Those are two stellar humans, like I said. I am going to
You're gonna knock
show
it all
this.
over it?
Nah, it got close, but there's one that I've knocked over a couple times that I'm going to show just because it's in the wrong spot for my chair arm hitting it. But this is my most recent one from Joseph Harmon, who is an artist here in the States. That is Carl the Fly.
Fuck. Dude, we
Yeah,
were
dude.
just looking at that one the other day.
Yeah,
That's vinyl?
it is.
Oh, fuck, that guy's so fun. That, like,
Yeah.
I also feel with the growing world of vinyl, there's really no longer this like high level standard stigma of like you must do monsters, you must do pieces that look a certain way. Like we're seeing so many different things. Like the Neil Ewing couch is a great example where it's like, the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You know?
Yeah, no, you're right, dude. It's like there's like everyday objects that get made in vinyl, and I know of a few more that are going to be coming out later this year, where they're not like uh, people figures or character figures or anything like that. It's more of an object, and I have plenty of those, dude, and they're great. Those are all super cool, man. I think when you find an item like that you can produce in vinyl in a bunch of different ways, that's really a home run, man. When people start doing that, but there's a lot of that stuff out there. We'll keep going, man. This one is Weeping Warlock. This is another combo, just like we were talking about. Weeping Warlock on the sculpt, Decay Toys on the paint, both from the States. But that's a freaking dandy, man. Weeping Warlock, they had to drop recently, and that stuff sold out as fast as it can be sold out, man. I kid you not, dude. That stuff went really quick, but that's a great one, dude. I love that. Decay Toys actually has a drop coming out pretty soon. I believe it's on Friday of a vinyl piece. But they do a lot of painting on other people's product, which is very very cool too. Keeping it going, man. Low Tech Studios. We took a look at this one maybe last week or the week before, but Low Tech, he was mentioned a couple times tonight. If him and Barely Human work together, dude, I mean, that's a killer combo right there. But Low Tech, man, he's not a big show guy as far as appearing on a show, but I have talked about his process before. And he's a guy who's making his own stuff, everything that we talked about before, from the welding and doing all that kind of stuff. He's doing it all on his own and pulling it right here in the States. This is another one here from Akashic Records and Toys. That is a dope one. This came via Yeah,
He's one that mentioned they would like to come in and join us sometime. I was hitting him
absolutely,
up.
dude.
That would be such a treat, dude. That dude's been in the game for ages.
He's a great dude too, man. One of my favorite vinyl artists, dude. I have this one was very cool. I actually saw this one on a table, just on a post that Scott Cherry Barbarian Rage had at his table during, I believe, WonderCon, and or Wonderfest or whatever that's called. But yeah, that's from Akashic Records and Toys. That's a great little piece right there.
Did
Um,
you did you
yeah,
end up getting one of those rock giants of his?
no,
Oh,
no, I did
fuck, those
not.
pieces are stupidly cool.
They are stupidly cool, man. I'd have to really think about somebody wanted to go in on some of those a while ago because they were coming from Mexico and they're like bootleg versions of it. And I can't remember what happened with that, but it ended up not happening. But yeah, those are cool, man. This is one from a K Hag that we just had on the show recently, but they are also from the States. That's a super cool looking figure right
Love
there.
the textures on that one.
Yeah, this one was I picked this one up at Assembly Required back in February, but that's a really cool one, man. If you missed that interview, go back and check that out. That was a good interview. That is another guy that had a ton of information about vinyl. Um, Joseph Harmon on that one. That's one that we looked at recently as well. This is Warp Zone, the Warp Zone variant of Ed. And what I really like, dude, you got Ed, you got Carl, and then there's another guy that I have. He's Salad Boy. But that's a really fun figure, man. The paint and everything on there is really really good. Um, Man, this one right here, dude, deep fried vinyl. Deep fried vinyl. He's got a drop coming out, I believe, on Friday as well. Man, I saw it in his stories today, and it's his bootleg version of Many Faces, and it's called Several Faces, which I thought was really cool. But that is from Deep Fried Vinyl, hand painted on that one. That's another one that's being
No,
pulled. Yeah,
pulled in the U.S., right?
correct. Yeah.
Okay, I was tripping on that earlier. Somehow I didn't. I didn't somehow put together the fact that they were actually pulling their own vinyl.
Yeah, we actually I met him in person at Assembly Required, and actually he's the one who introduced me to James. But yeah, doing his own polling, and
Fuck.
yeah, really really cool. This one's got a really good feel to it too, man. Like you said, the joints, nice and tight. Um,
That sounded so good. That was like a fucking skateboard bale cracked ankle.
yeah, dude,
Damn.
really good. The weapon fits really nice in the hand. That's not going anywhere. But then just the colors on that too, man. The kind of primary colors highlighted by the black and red. Really cool,
Yeah.
man. Really makes that red pop on there. Super cool. Look at the eyes on that, dude. That's awesome. Love that one. Deep fried vinyl on that one. Decay Toy says drop at Ocon in Omaha, weekend of the 17th. Online sales shortly after for anything that didn't sell there. So that's very cool. Um, there's a couple, man, that I'm going to show that were painted by different people. This one, yeah, that's what I thought. I couldn't tell what that letter was. But this is a Kachina Kachina piece painted by Ophelia. Ophelia, man, I'll show you a couple of those tonight. But that's a super sick one. Kachina Kachina, man. He is also up in Oregon, I believe. One of my favorite artists, just all around. Super good guy. But yeah, that's his figure there, painted by Ophelia. Ophelia is kind of trademark, man, is that tentacle, and that tentacle pops in there, which is super awesome, man. I'll show you another piece here in a minute that has some tentacles on it, but that's a cool one right there. That's Ophelia and Kachina Kachina on that one. Drew Baby, Plagued Earth, man, that's a badass one right there. Drew's down in Texas, and the marbling on that one is just
Yeah.
beautiful.
I remember from the moment you showed that one off, I was just like, "Fuck, that's gorgeous." It's so
Yeah,
much bigger than you expect from the pictures too.
straight up, man. And this, what I really liked about this one too, man, is that it came bagged up, and you can imagine that the bag was huge for it, which I think is super cool. But this one actually glows too. But the marbling on that thing is just so damn good, man. Bam, that's Plague to Earth. Drew Baby. Make sure you're following him if you're not. Here's another Ophelia, dude. Check this one out. This is a Saruga mark piece, which glows. But this was also, it was painted by Ophelia, and it came out just filthy good, man. Check that out. But Saruga mark, man, I believe he's in. Is he in Colorado?
Oh goodness! Now you got me thinking. If anything, friggin' Megatech is probably gonna make fun of us for not knowing this. But I thought he was in California.
He could be, but he's another guy that's pulling vinyl by himself, correct?
Well, so if anything, Akashiki Records actually typically pulls with him.
Oh,
But
nice.
I really do feel that the styling of their pieces are those ones that we will see people like hunting them down at some point. It's
Yeah,
weird. You never know what's going to end up catching on. Even Greasy Creeps recently posted something, and they even said like, "Damn, like these are post-mortem prices," because I guess somebody had posted one of his pieces online and was asking just an absurd price for it, which is it's too bad, and it's definitely not a reason to collect. I just think that
yeah,
they have an idea of what is cool in that realm.
yeah, yeah. I agree, man. God, there's just so much out there. This one is from Secret Handshake Toys. Now this one came from a show, and Connor Graves actually picked this one up for me by request. But that's a Gordo from Secret Handshake Toys. Again, the joints on there are nice and tight, really cool piece.
I
The
love
the head does turn.
I love when people use the clear vinyl in that manner. There's just something so sick about like creating a helmet, or in the Kachina piece where it's the well, he's got the helmet, but he's also got the piece now. It's like the lava lamp,
Yeah,
or like there's just something about that that's just it's I don't know, it's titillating. I like seeing the medium being used that way.
yeah. No, I agree, man. And I think somebody had I believe it was Suki had a question in there about clear Japanese pieces. We didn't get to that question to them, but I think there was a question that like was that the standard because their clear vinyl was so good. But this is really cool, man. This was my first piece from Secret Handshake. Thank you again, Connor Graves, for that one. Sticking with Ophelia, man, check this one out. I should have showed this to James, but this is a Budfoot that I got recently. I had sent a bunch of pieces off to Ophelia.
Damn,
Bro, look at that. That is
damn.
just so dang good, dude.
Oh fuck,
Woo,
damn. Yeah. Yeah, that's really sick, dude.
yeah, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a Budfoot by Wonder Goblin painted by Ophelia. Um, and in my Wonder Goblin display, dude, this guy is definitely the centerpiece.
Oh, I
But
believe it.
it's an awesome one, man. And I believe he uses vinyl wonder paint, which is even cooler, right?
I rocked that movie again tonight. It was probably around like 5 o'clock eating my dinner, and I was like, you know what? It's probably been like a year or two since I've seen that. Why not watch it?
Yeah,
Throw
there you
on the
go.
old Budfoot movie.
There you go.
Everyone's seen
This
it
one
7 minutes.
is, yeah, this one is Motley Miscreations. Motley Miscreations has a lot of double cast resin work out there, but they do dabble in vinyl. And that is one that I picked up a while back. I believe this one came from another collector in Australia. But they were clearing some stuff out. And I mean, I don't know how you can not jump on that thing. That is just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that's something that you'd almost see on a book cover or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is awesome, man. I don't think I've posted this one yet. I need to, but um, that's a beauty. Motley Miscreations, man. I remember when I first started seeing them, a vinyl piece from them. I'm like, what? I didn't know they did vinyl, but sure enough, man, they have several vinyl pieces out there.
I'm not lowering how dope it is, but it's hard for my brain. It's also going to, damn, we're clearly that weird uncle from the 1990s that's, collecting all the weird dragon things and putting them around the TV.
Something like that. Something like that. Um, this is the newest one from, he was talking about Mondo, and that's one from this. Now, this design and concept was from Octeal, Octeal Tattoo here in the States. And then there was a whole bunch of people that were involved. Um, Attack Peter, I believe, was involved in this one in some of the paint. And then I believe Octeil did the header card, and then the original design was him as well. Then somebody else did the packaging and whatnot. But that's a super cool piece, man.
That's too
Uh,
funny.
yeah, I thought it was way bigger than what I expected to, which is cool. But that's a dope one, dude. I really like that one. Um, Dreams of Robots, man. This is another one that was. I love this one, dude. I picked this up at AR back in February. This one is painted by Connor Graves, who is another U.S. artist here. I believe he's out in the Las Vegas area, but that's a dope one, man. I've seen this one in a few different colorways. I believe they just came out with another one that maybe glows, which is super cool. But that's a badass piece, man. Double face. But the primary colors on this one I thought were just super cool. Connor Graves did an outstanding job on that.
It's so nutcrackery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, does have that look and feel to it. But I mean, all the details with the rivets and everything, super cool. Um, and then we'll start going through these a little bit quicker, man. This one's Clav 9. That's a Wonder Goblin piece painted by Clav 9. Um,
You know, Wonder Goblin's got. I almost wish we could have bugged him. I mean, you could probably just Google it even, but I wonder how many sculpts they've released in vinyl at this point.
oh God,
Like
dude,
so many
yeah.
fucking pieces.
Well, and that's what I was trying to ask about. You know, once you have so many, dude, like how do you pick which one to do? I mean, that's really kind of a dumb question because it's like, what do you mean? How do I pick? I don't know. I just picked the one I like the best, I guess. But um, it's you're right, dude. It's like, how do you pick which one to do? This is Clav 9. I think that this was Clav 9's first kind of experiment with a airbrush, and I think they came out freaking great. But Clav 9 stuff, that's good stuff right there. Gloopy Goblin, man, that's one that I just snagged. This guy is named Horror, and that's a dope little piece, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the simplicity of his sculpt work. It reminds me of something that you'd see like Saturday morning cartoons and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I like the highlights on the teeth and the eyeballs there. That one's very cool. But Gloopy Goblin on that, another artist from the States.
Even if that simple head articulation can do so much for a character too.
Yeah, definitely, man. This is the Ghoul, and it's by Craig Gleason, but I believe the vinyl work is by Justin Ishmael. Is who that one is, but that's a really cool one. I actually picked this one up on eBay a while back just because I wanted the figure so bad, dude. I think I have
Yeah,
this.
that's dope.
Yeah, I have this figure in a couple different versions, and it's dope, man. I love that one. The Creep, I think, is what that dude's called. No, I think I said the Ghoul, but I think it's the Creep. Um, Check out that Bone Ghost vinyl, man. That's like a smoke uh, vinyl from that damn JDO.
Looks
So
almost like what's that? A red, like a red wine.
yeah, dude, in person, and I might be picking up some colors from something else because it is a little bit translucent. But when you look at it, when you put it up to the light, you can definitely see through it. But when it's just, kind of sitting there, it looks solid black, man. But it's cool. I like this one, man. The Bone Ghost figure, I think, is just I mean, I think the Bone Ghost that figure will sell it. No matter if you could make that thing out of fucking celery and it would probably sell. It's just such a cool. Yes, dude, I did. That's freaking wild, man. I love that. Um, but yeah, that's another good one from him. Typically does like resin or Keshi style, but then does dabble in vinyl a little bit as well. How about this one? This is a turntable tarantula, or you can call it the scorpion scratcher, whichever one you want. But that's from Swarm, uh, and Swarm is from down here in actually my neck of the woods, a little bit south of me, down in Fremont. But that's a dope one, man. I think I picked this one up at my very first designer con I went to back in like 2020, 2021, something like that. But that's a dope one, man. Scorpion Scratcher. There's a little piece that popped off right there. So
There's
uh,
something so dope about the primary colors.
yeah, It is, man. This one's got that like really kind of ultra UV look to it, and lights up really nice. But that's a Scorpion Scratcher by Swarm. He's got a pretty large vinyl line as well. Check those out. Um,
This is probably one of the sickest grabs you've grabbed in a minute. This piece is insane. It's just so stupidly cool, man. That paint app's fucking cool.
100%, dude. So painted by Dirty Yeti, piece by Ragnar Squad. And it is a fancy boy, dude. Check that out. We looked at this in detail when I first got it, but the paint on there is just incredible. Um, and one of my favorite pieces that I own, dude. It's the color palette. It's the size of the piece. I think he picked the colors so damn well. But that's a really cool one, man. Both artists from here in the States. Um, nice work though, dude. Bam. Mm. Dirty Yeti and Ragnar Squad on that one. How about this one, dude? Don't forget about Healy Made. This is a Quackula from Healy Made, painted by Gargamel. That's a really cool one, man. I don't know if there was a run of these or what, but
I don't know if I've seen that because the paint is so tight on that. I don't know if I'd seen that.
yeah, I don't know if there was a run of these. I bought this from Healy directly a couple years ago, I believe.
Oof.
But man, it is just a stellar looking piece. The Quackula figure on its own, I think, is just super cool. The look of it is awesome. Um, he also
That's
does a
so
version of these
cool.
in, yeah, 3.75 resin. He does his figure in as well, different stance. But that's a really cool one, man, from Healy Made. Healy Made's got everything up here. This is all Healy Made, like 4-inch vinyl on those, and those are the SWWF wrestling figures, which that line will keep going. But those are vinyl as well, Japanese vinyl. But Healy Made, of course, from the great state of New York. Uh, Another collab. This is Ray Gun Wizard, painted by Resin Blood. On that one, Cubehead. Cubehead, I really dig this piece, man. Just the figure alone, I have a couple cube heads. I have another one painted by Kachina Kachina. That was super awesome. But that's another really good figure. Both guys from here in the States, of course. Um, but yeah, Ray Gun Wizard and Resin Blood collab on that one. Um, Jonathan Queen, man. This is a original Bat Fink, and he does have the vacuum formed mask, which he made too, which is super cool. It's just like the old school mask. It's got the little rubber band thing on it. Um, but yeah, Jonathan Queen, man, this is probably one of my favorite lines of figures, the Bat Kid. Obviously, a lot of influence from the Bob's Big Boy vinyl characters that have been coming out over the last few decades. But this is his version of that, which is super cool, man. I have 3 or 4 different versions of this one. All of them are just really good, dude. I believe this is the vinyl is Mexico. But of course, design, paint, all that from Jonathan Queen, who is from here in the States. Those are nice, man. If anybody sees one of these up for sale, you will not be disappointed, man. They're very cool pieces. Um, this is one of the newest ones. I would say new within the last few days.
Oh, I know damn well what that is. That's sick.
Yeah, dude. This is Witch Doctor from Bootleg Toyco. Um,
That
his
colorway is so sick, man.
Yeah, I think he called this one Voodoo Blue. But this is super cool, man. This is another one that was made in resin, that was turned into a vinyl piece. Man, that's a question I should have asked those guys too, is if any of their resin pieces had become vinyl pieces, earlier on in their careers. But this is a really cool one, man. Bootleg Toyco, he is from Kansas. And another guy that is self-taught on vinyl. Abe had mentioned in the chat a little earlier that a few guys actually took ZBrush in college, and that's kind of where they found digital sculpting, but not Bootleg Toyco, man. This guy is self-taught on that, and he's absolutely killing it, man. Everything he does is super cool. Uh, yeah, I'm not sure if these sold out or if they're still available, but great buy on this one. There's a green one and a blue one, so check those out. Bootleg Toyco, the BTC on that one. Gong Kong Studios. Bam, that's another one I picked up at AR. He was tabling with Connor Graves, but that glows too. And Gong Kong was one of those guys that I was a little bit referring to as far as not having a resin background and just kind of jumped right into it. Um, and man, he went hard when he did it. We had him on the show within the last few months, and he kind of broke down his process of finding out how to do this stuff and kind of some of the contacts that he made. And he basically just pounded the pavement, hit the streets, and started asking people, calling people, and here we go.
Yeah, I did think that was funny when we were interviewing because it's one of the most common things we hear is people having a hard time finding it. So when somebody was basically was like, "No, I got to the bottom of it, found that shit."
Yeah,
It's like nice, dude.
yeah, absolutely, man. This big dude right here, this is Star Braver from Spumani Toys, who's also here in the States. But that is the UV on this one is just outstanding. There is a sword that comes with this. I didn't grab it, but this is a beast of a piece. This is another one that came bagged up.
Damn.
Yeah, super awesome, man. Star Braver on that one from Spumani Toys. But that's just a beast, dude. And it's articulated. You got the nice, you know what I mean? Super cool.
I feel like that is more of an Eastern style design. So it's
Yeah.
so wild, man. Like, because I find we don't really see a lot of like Westerners going that route with their Safubi. So, wow.
Yeah, no, you're right, dude. It's got kind of like a little bit of a Voltron look to it, which is probably one of the reasons that it drew me to it. I was a big Voltron fan as a kid. Um, but yeah, Starbraver from Spumani Toys. Like I said, man, the UV on this one is just it's outstanding. That's a good one. Magitarius, man, just a staple in the vinyl game, especially here in the States. We've looked at this one a couple times, but that's a husband and wife team. And they're down south somewhere, I believe, too, back east. But that's a very, very cool one. Magitarius from here in the States. Uh, this one actually glows too, but painted up by them, of course, as well. Very cool.
If I won the lottery, I would grab every single one of their collaboration pieces between them and Wonder Goblin. That whole fucking dinosaur line is too cool.
Agree, man. How about this one, dude? Here's another one from Bootleg Toyco. This is a Bootleg Toyco Ophelia collab, kind of an unknown collab because I got the Rat Boy piece from Bootleg Toyco. It was a blank. I sent it over to Ophelia, have him do his thing. He added these horns to it. We'll take a look at this piece when Ophelia's
Ooh, magnet horns.
yeah, dude, straight up. We'll take a look at this piece again when Ophelia's on the show, but that's just such a killer piece, man. The eyes, James was talking about using doll eyes in some of his pieces. Ophelia does the same thing. But that's a super cool one from painted by Ophelia. Look at the details on there too, man. Super cool.
Oh, hell yeah. I know, it's amazing.
Yeah, very nice on that one. Last one. This one I picked up, God, dude, I want to say a couple years ago at AR in Asheville. God, dude, why is this artist's name slipping my mind right now?
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, you
dude.
did just rhyme off like 20 artists. That might be why.
Yeah, somebody help me out with that one, dude. That one is just, God, dude, that's a total brain fart on my end, but that's another cool one, man. This one also comes in white, just a white blank, but that's another really cool piece right there. So that's what we got for the American vinyl, man. There's so much out there. Lots of people. Monster Bloodbath.
There you go.
Thank you, dude. Good Lord. Decay Toys with the save. Thank you, man. Uh, and I love him, Pete Johnson, dude. I
There
know
you
the
go.
dude, and I mean, Jesus Christ, you know what I'm saying? But those are cool, dude. He's another guy who does resin, he does vinyl, he does prints, he does apparel, he does lots of cool stuff, man. Really cool artist. Monster Bloodbath. There you go. Bam. Thank you. Cool cat on it. There you go.
There you go, man. And Decay
Yeah.
Toys, both of you guys just firing off. I'm only gonna show off one here because we're about the end of the show here. But you know how I miss seeing in the scene? I miss fucking seeing Anonymous Rat, man.
Oh man.
Some Chicago boys.
What? Maybe you know, maybe you don't. What happened to Anonymous Rat?
You know, the sad thing, if I had to guess, I think they went too big, too quick. Like even I'm just looking at like my table here. They have like one, two, three, four different like sculpts. Some of them being big too. Like the fucking strawberry snail is big. You know, like that's a big piece, multi pieces. And then they also did all like the little minis and the blinds. They had pins. They had shirts. The boxes were like full out boxes. And then all of a sudden one day it was like they were selling off all their prototypes and rares and artist proofs. And next thing you know, just not a word again, really, man.
Wow. And from Chicago too. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the old Chicago. So
Nice.
yeah, man, and you know, like they really went hard. I feel like it's a shame that they're not still doing it, but maybe we'll see them make other projects.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I like about that artist as well, man, is you know, the just the pieces that you showed, you can tell that those are they have that same vibe to them, you know.
Oh,
Uh,
they built a world. I feel like
yeah.
they had built a world for sure. Yeah, like and like their most iconic character. Like admittedly, like you know when you're onto something and you should. I feel like Peach Man was like their iconic first guy, and he sold out like that. It's like you guys, you probably could have ridden that wave for a bit. Like the steel molds are so expensive to make that like again like the more sculpts that you're putting in your library, every time you're making an investment choice.
Uh, Dude, 100%, dude. And that's, I think they touched on that a lot today, where it's just like it's a whole different game, man, when you get into the production of the piece, not only the time and stuff like that, but the cost of those is just nuts. You know what I mean? Like I've seen those and heard from people where it's like three, four, 5,000 and up to get those things made. And it's like, unless you have a lot of money sitting around or you're already in the process where your last toy is funding your next toy. And that's kind of what I was asking them about, man. Like it's, now that they've gotten further down the road, um, is it easier to kind of take a break from that and then just go back to some of the old designs and send that out in a different colorway or something like that? But yeah, dude, I mean, the cost of stuff is just, I think that's another big hurdle for vinyl artists to overcome is the initial cost of the production. I mean, it's staggering is what it sounds like to me, you know?
I mean, Kickstarters,
Sure.
Patreons, right? Like we see all this stuff exist to kind of try and help push that idea out there. But
Yeah. Yeah.
we're grateful, dude. As much as like we live in a weird time, everything's pretty uncertain, all that fun like jazz. I mean, AI hasn't completely taken over art yet.
Right.
We still
Uh,
have humans making things and painting things and investing their efforts and time into that, and that's fucking sick.
yeah, no, I agree, man. It's all art, James, said it pretty well. And then John followed up too, he just kind of learn how to do it on your own, and then that becomes a skill. James still likes to get in there and do the wax. I know there's a lot of artists out there that are still doing that, but I think with the combination of something like digital sculpting, I mean, you think how that could benefit you just as far as time, and you know,
But I love that Wonder Goblin touched on it though, because and I think we all struggle with this. Is that we're supposed to like if you like painting or you enjoy sculpting, we've been so crunched into this idea that we've only got this much time that then we forget to actually just like enjoy the time that it does take. Like what's an hour doing something you love if it's something you love, right? So it is difficult, man, and we all do it. We put this weird self-imposed like time limit. If anything, I've asked artists this before. Like, I know there's times I won't work on something because I'm afraid I'll get too invested in it. I'll lose track of time, and before I know it, I'll have wasted the whole day sculpting, drawing, painting, whatever. Right? And you're like, oh no, I better not accidentally do that. I might get sucked in. So it's like, no, you're supposed to just enjoy it. If you spent the whole fucking afternoon doing it, then jackpot, lucky you. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was cool to hear that perspective of it, because I mean, I think we've both talked to artists that are just the complete opposite of that. You know what I mean? Where they want to, get stuff out, and they don't want to rush stuff out, but there is that schedule that they're on where they feel like they have to get something out in a certain amount of time, whether it's before a show or whatever it is. But the result is always the same. At the end, no matter how, what path you take to get there, it kind of all leads to the same thing, which is cool. And I think overall, we're still in a very early stage of um, vinyl makers here in the US. I mean, how many factories are there? There's a couple.
Well, and the more accessible it becomes, the more we'll see it grow. How many of the homies just in the last year have we heard drop Rabbit Giant Safubi? You know?
A lot, a lot. And and I it's tricky, man, because I think that's where some of the animosity comes in, with newer makers coming in, and John said it really well. Sometimes the stuff that you have in line gets pushed to the back. Um, I think what we don't see on the factories end is, they're trying to build up clientele just like everybody else, and they have room for it. They're probably not going to say no, to you, which is great. Which is great.
But okay, and I don't mean to cut you off, but this is where
Yeah,
capitalism and art always get kind of frustrating because
sure.
it's great, yes, that this factory is booming, they're getting more clientele, etc. But it'll always be that the person who comes in and can ask for 300 units, 1,000 units, 2,000 units, they're gonna be like, oh fuck yeah, that's a big order for a company that like we really want our product to be the one making this for them.
Yeah,
And so it's no disrespect to the homies, but it's like, well, of course, then though, when you're asking for 50 units of something that you're basically giving them, a fraction of what this corp would pay to get it, of course you're getting bumped down the line. You're now
yeah,
like an afterthought if they've got some time after they fulfill this really big order for somebody that's important. So it's kind of like, well, shit, man. Of course, capitalism's going to come in and kind of ruin it, and that's where it gets better. Like again, like low tech is one of my favorites this past year. Watching them just kind of be like, well, I'm gonna do it from home then, and start just doing it all from home.
yeah,
It's always nice seeing that process. And I think honestly, Wonder Goblin said it probably the best tonight too, where he was just like, well, if you've got the equipment, the space, and the brain to do it safely, so keeping that in mind too, that you can't just
yeah,
hop out into the driveway and start just fucking doing whatever the hell you want with these chemicals.
yeah, for sure, man. Dude, I mean, I know that we're far off from him being able to take orders for his factory, but I kid you not, man. When I was at Assembly Required in February, and there was a few people, um, kind of hush hush talking about that because I don't think he had made anything public yet. But dude, the excitement from the U.S. vinyl artists, you could hear it in their voice, dude, where they're like, "Oh man, that would be so cool if there was a larger factory that could make our stuff here." Because all those problems that we talked about, um, the shipping, all that stuff all goes away, man. The communication, I think, is huge. I think John nailed that really good, where it's huge, man. You're not only dealing with different time zones, and this kind of back and forth where you may have to wait till the person wakes up to even receive the message, but then the communication, especially when you're really trying to fine tune something. I guess the good news is that it seems like it always works out in the end. I haven't really heard anybody saying, yeah, I got this piece, I don't really like it. I wish they would have done this different or that different. I don't ever really hear that. So they're working it out, but I just think that the process would be expedited, if it was, and cheaper if it was in the States, which it sounds like we're moving towards that way, which again is kind of goes back to the infancy stage of what this whole thing is.
Well said, B. Let these
Thanks.
yahoos get on with their evening.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm not sure what's going on next week. Haven't quite got there yet, but we will figure it out and have some fun stuff. Either way, thanks to both those dudes for coming in tonight, man. That was very cool. We'll have to do that again at some point. But yeah, that was a good one. Thank you, Suki. Appreciate that, man. Peace out. Thanks for joining, everybody.